keep it. If you don't have insurance, you'll finally be able to afford insurance. And everyone will have the security and stability that's missing today.
Health and Human Services Secretary Kathleen Sebelius did acknowledge some people will see their health care costs go up.
I just see a huge train wreck coming down. You and I have discussed this many times, and I don't see any results.
I happen to be a proponent of a single-payer universal health care plan.
Never said that we should try to go ahead and get single-payer.
The president has directed us to take action to fight these cartels, and Attorney General Holder and I are taking several new and aggressive steps as part of the administration's comprehensive plan.
I'm not sure the exact date, but I probably heard about Fast and Furious for the first time over the last few weeks.
I heard on the news about this story that Fast and Furious.
These protests, reaction to a video that many Muslims find offensive.
This video is disgusting and reprehensible.
I don't care how offensive this video was, and it was terribly offensive. And we should shun it.
What happened this week in Cairo, in Benghazi, and many other parts of the region was a direct result of a heinous and offensive video.
I asked her why the ambassador had said there was a demonstration when the embassy had reported only an attack.
The fact is, we had 4 dead Americans. Was it because of a protest, or was it because of guys out for a walk one night who decided they'd go kill some Americans? What difference at this point does it make?
Irreverent, but honest and tastefully tacky somehow. Here comes another hour of insensitivity training with Glenn Woods.
Well, that's it. I have no choice here. I'm just going to have to pick up the phone and fire my travel agent. No, I've had enough of this. Last year's European vacation was boring. Here we go. It's the Bold Republic Radio Show. My name is Glenn Woods. Thanks for joining me. As always, phone number if you want to get involved in this show, 307-363-4093 is the number. That's 307-363-4093. As always, pretty much everything that I talk about and a whole lot more, you'll find it on my website, which is boldrepublic.com. So you may have heard it during the course of this, during the past weekend here? I think I might have heard it on Friday. I'm forgetting the day that it was. So here we are in France. There are 3 American servicemen on vacation. They're on a train in France. And they see a would-be terrorist armed to the teeth, and I mean, name your weapon. I mean, from homemade bombs, this guy had it all. Multiple guns. He injured one of the guys with a box cutter. And so what did our boys do? Well, they pounced on him and beat the ever-living snot out of the guy. Left him unconscious. Here's why I'm going to fire my travel agent. Last time I got to France, I went on vacation. All I got to do was just hang out at museums and go sit out at some outdoor cafe and enjoy a little cheese and little cafe, whatever the heck that coffee thing was supposed to be. That was my vacation. This is boring. Go see the Eiffel Tower. Everybody sees the Eiffel Tower. These guys get to go on vacation in France and beat the snot out of a terrorist. Now, that's a vacation. Sign me up for this. I'm going to call them, find out who their travel agent is, sign up for that next time around. Kind of a gig I'd like. Okay, now, I hate to break this to you guys out there. I always get a kick out of the inter-service rivalry, between... And it's fun to watch. On the one hand, and this is what I really love about it. On the one hand, our servicemen have each other's backs. I mean, they do. When it really comes down to it and we're in a fight, these guys have each other's backs. There's no doubt about it. But outside of the war zone, there's a rivalry that goes on between the services. And I love reading some of the people that I subscribe to on different social media or from different branches of the military, and you should hear them talking smack. I mean, it's fun to watch. Okay, guys, I hate to break this to you, you with the inter-service rivalry. You know who you are. You Navy guys, you Marines out there. I'm sorry to break this to you, Army. The first man in to tackle down this would-be terrorist, the first guy to bum tackle him, take him to the ground, fight off multiple weapons, they had to reattach his mostly severed thumb because the terrorist was trying to cut at him with a little razor blade, was the Air Force guy. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, I'm sorry. What, you didn't want to hear that, I know, but it was the Air Force guy that did it. So according to the story that I have here, there was one guy that was a Marine, another guy was National Guard, and the third guy was Air Force. And so in France, they did the right thing, and I really do appreciate it. I have to give the French credit for this. They brought our guys in to meet some pretty good highfalutin French ministers and so on, and gave them medals for what they had done, saving who knows how many people on that train. I don't know what the count was on the train. So that's what happens when American servicemen go on vacation. Who's their travel agent? I want to know. All right, now, there was something else I was thinking about when I was reading this story again today. And these guys are just absolutely amazing. These are what American heroes are. These are what our servicemen are. Whenever I hear and I do hear this, I know personally leftists, liberals out there who just cannot stand our American military. They have said so to my face. These were the guys on that train that ran to the terrorists, ran to the fight. They didn't go diving under some chair somewhere and whimper and cry. They didn't run over each other, trampling each other to get out of the train. They saw the danger. They ran to it. They took the guy down. This is what happens when you take action like this. Great things can be accomplished. Glenn Reynolds does a website called Instapundit, which is literally one of the first and most successful blogs out there. He writes about this over the course of the weekend. And I like the title. It was a title that caught my eye. I thought it was over something else, and I opened it up and went, oh, it's on this topic. Glenn Reynolds writes, see something, do something. That's the title of the article. He writes, 3 Marines stopped terrorists on a French train was the gist of the first headline on this weekend's counterterrorism story. But when the actual facts came out, the story got even better than you originally heard. It turns out it wasn't 3 Marines. I understand how the Air Force guy was mistaken for a Marine in this one, because he was the first one in there bum tackling. And it didn't matter what kind of weapons the terrorist pulled. He just kept knocking them out of the guy's hands and knocking him down on the ground. It was 2 U.S. servicemen from the National Guard and the Air Force. And, so it wasn't a Marine. And their civilian, Marines. And their civilian buddy from middle school who had the help from a traveling British businessman as well. So he was in there. And if you look at some of the pictures in this, you see a picture of an older gentleman with really bad teeth. That would be the older British businessman. No, I'm not kidding. Don't look at the radio that way. You saw Austin Powers. For those people who doubt me, go ahead and take a look. If you're watching on video, you can confirm it to everybody else who's listening audio. Radio stations are on the app. I have right now on the video screen 2 of the U.S. servicemen holding up French medals and smiling. And off to the right of the picture is an older gentleman who was the British businessman. And he is smiling with all of his bad teeth. Just take a look at it. Real Austin Powers teeth there. So don't tell me that I'm lumping everybody in or whatever. There's the evidence. Okay. The three were riding a train from Amsterdam to Paris when a gunman, an Islamist from Morocco, who was had visited Syria and was flagged as a possible jihadist. He started shooting. One of the Americans, Airman First Class Spencer Stone, 23 years old, sprinted at the gunman. Now I'm going to correct. Glenn Reynolds is just a dynamite writer, but I've got to correct him on this one. He writes, he sprinted at the gunman and tackled him. No. He bum tackled him. Okay? Unless you can he bum rushed him, you could put that in there. Okay, so the others, Oregon National Guardsman Alex, I think is Scarlatos, I think is his name, 22 years old. Sacramento State University student and Anthony Sadler joined in, also National Guard. They recounted in the Sky News interview from their hotel, Northern France, I just looked over and said, let's go. And who does that sound like to you, by the way? For those who remember, let's roll. That's the American spirit I'm talking about. See, you know, as I read this story to you, part of what reminds me of is I'm just sick and tired of these wimps out there. Well, you're too aggressive. You shouldn't be carrying a gun and pepper spray is bad. And, you know, you want to know what men are like? Ladies, have you been looking for a real man? Okay. 3 out of these 4 are really good-looking young American men who take action. The 4th one is an old British guy with bad teeth. But 3 out of the 4 are really good-looking American servicemen. I don't know whether they're single or not, but just so you know, that's what a man looks like. I'm so sick and tired of teaching people to basically hide under their desk because a nuclear bomb might be dropped. Enough of that. Okay, so as they recounted in Sky News, one of them was a hotel, Northern France. He said, just looked at him and said, let's go. Stone, the first guy in there, the Air Force guy, was cut by the attacker behind his neck, and his thumb was nearly sliced off because the guy had a razor. As the man was wrestled to the ground, the gunman pulls out a box cutter and starts slicing at him. 2 Americans who remember September 11th, this kind of response, even down to the let's go echoes of Todd Beamer, passenger flight 93, his response of let's roll. Meanwhile, the expensive global security establishment failed again. And Glenn Reynolds writes, bureaucrats have their place, but they don't deal well with diffusing threats such as this. By the time the first responders got there, it was too late. It was over. But there's one group of responders they don't have to go anywhere. They're just there. That's the group already on the scene. See, the point of Glenn Reynolds' article here, and this is something that you and I talk about on a regular basis on this program, who is, and we have this discussion a lot. There's a lot of people who say to me, we need to save our country. Okay. You want to save the country. All right. No, you want to take America back. Great. And what do I constantly tell you? Well, get in there. You want to go save your country? You want to, yes, okay, get up and get in there. What are you waiting for? See, we need you in the fight. So I just want you to picture, I'm going to use this for, there's a lot of things I can use it for, but I want you to picture where America is at right now as a nation. Okay? So basically, America is on this train. All right, now, are you getting up and getting in there and taking action to save your country? Or are you one of those passengers who's screaming and looking for a way to hide under the seat? Or are you someone who's just sitting by and watching the action? Worst yet, are you one of those who whipped out your cell phone and you're taking pictures of it because you can't wait to post it all on the internet? Which one are you?
Your National Dead Clock Countdown for August 24th, 2015. 18,358 billion. And now a message from future generations. Oh, you had it so easy back then, didn't you? Yes, and by comparison, they had it easy back then, spending all of your money. This has been your National Debt Claw Count. Oh. Wow, that was just a great summer, and I've never had so much fun out in the water. But now that it's over, I'm gonna put the boat away in storage, wait for next summer. Yeah, here's the problem. Mud, dirt, seaweed, and what's that on the side over there? Is that like growing or something like that? Well, that's all right. That's what Fast and Furious Detailing is for. Before you put your summer recreational vehicles away, go to Fast and Furious Detailing and have everything spruced up, shined up. I mean, leaving all that dirt and grime on your recreational vehicles, especially your boat, could cause a lot of damage if you let it sit that way during the course of the winter. So clean it up now with Fast and Furious Detailing. That way, next year, when you pull your boat out for the first time to head to the lake, yeah, kind of looks like that. Fast and Furious Detailing, serving all of Northeast Wyoming, located in Gillette. Find them online at fastandfuriousdetailing.com, handling interior detailing, exterior detailing, boats and RVs. fastandfuriousdetailing.com, 307-682-2470. That's 307-682-2470.
Daydreaming, son, it's time to get prepared. Time to get off your sofa and run yourself down to Surplus Unlimited in the Gun Traders Building. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Civilian soldier, they got everything you could need. That's right, the surplus is unlimited. Surplus Unlimited ammo for babies and adults.
That's right, babies need camos too.
10 different styles of camo.
Oh, don't you look pretty.
550 cord, numerous colors, wool blankets, boots, hats, gloves, coats, shirts, tactical vests and belts, camping supplies, high quality army cots, and that hard to find P38 can opener. Save time, save money. Surplus Unlimited in the Gun Traders Building. 801 Carlisle on the Douglas Highway across from the fishing lake. Gillette, Wyoming.
I'm Professor Burke from Farmers Insurance, and this is 30 Seconds of Smart. So you want discounts on your home insurance? Upgrade your roof. Upgrade your plumbing. Get a burglar alarm. Get a fire alarm. Combine policies with your spouse. Bundle your coverage. Quit smoking. And of course, talk to farmers, because the more you know about home insurance, the more you can save.
We are farmers.
Get smarter about your insurance at farmers.com.
Stop by and see Lyle Austin, 201 West Lakeway Road in the Lakeway Professional Center, 686-5002. That's 686-5002. Did you hear? The government is giving away free guns. Yes, free guns. Gun manufacturers around the nation will be mandated to give every citizen a free gun with ammunition. As you know, the U.S. Constitution states that you have a right to bear arms. And since we've been told that anything that is a right, like healthcare, is given to you by the government for free, then that must mean that soon you'll be able to pick up your free gun. And since free contraceptives are also a right, then that means you get free bullets too. Yes, right now the U.S. government is borrowing money from China and future generations and raising taxes on the mega wealthy just to make sure that you get your free gun guaranteed under the Constitution. Because now anything that's a right in this country is given to you for free. Healthcare is a right, and you have the right to bear arms. It's your right.
All right, I think I got this. He makes it his business to know the government's business and how they're all up in your business so you can go about your business. Where was I going with this? Kind of lost track. Anywho, Glenn is back on the air now. Yep, there he is.
So let's wrap up real quick here with these three all-American heroes. And again, this is what real men look like. Look, real men, let's just out with it here, is not some whiny little bicycle-riding, tree-hugging liberal guy who wants to ban all guns and thinks that if he does so, then the world's going to be a safer place, and thinks that the U.S. military, for God's sakes, and I've actually, I had to stomach through it this week and read an article, yet another leftist out there saying, well, the world would be a safe place if it wasn't for the U.S. military. Really? I would like to sit him in a room. Actually, this would be a great idea. Okay. There's actual liberal professor, another one, yet again this weekend, actually said the world would be safer without the U.S. military. Okay. I could sell tickets to this and make just a load of money. You know, Nick, are you listening? We could sell tickets to this. Not just the people who would see this in person, what I'm about to tell you, would pay a lot of money to be there in the room and see it in person. Then we can make a bunch of money off of pay-per-view and internet feeds. I want to take that leftist college professor and put him in a room with these three guys that just saved a train filled with innocent people in France from a terrorist who was just going to start shooting people and blow up the train. And without any weapons on them, they rushed him, took him to the ground, and literally beat him unconscious. Now, I want you to tell me how it is, again, that the U.S. military is what makes the world a more dangerous place, and we would be safer without the military. I want him to sit in front of these three guys and make that argument. And I want to see their response. I'm not necessarily saying they're going to beat the snot out of the liberal professor, although that's, I think, what most people are paying for if we were to do a pay-per-view event. And what most of you would want to see, frankly, right? No, don't look at me like that. Like most of you would want to see, like going to a NASCAR race. Oh, there weren't any wrecks this weekend. I wanted to see at least one car cartwheel. I mean, come on. Well, you want to see this professor get beaten up, I know. But the conversation that they would have with him, that alone would be worth the price of pay-per-view. Oh, dear God. Now, you want to talk about a reality show. That's a reality show. But let's take a look at what we have, because I think there's a greater point to be made here. Let's take a look at what these three servicemen really mean. These are three guys that it was the moment they saw that there was a problem and they needed to take action, they just did it. They just jumped in and did it. Okay. So let's take a look at this. And this is the extent that they're willing to go to save innocent people at the risk of their own lives. All three of them could have been shot while rushing him. And they knew that. Okay, so I'm not saying pick up guns and go to war. I'm not saying that. But you hear me talk about it on this program on a regular basis. We are right now a nation of people who are complaining about our government, and rightfully so, as our freedoms are whittled away, as future generations are going to have to live with massive debt, and the list goes on and on. And I'm talking to you personally here now, specifically you, wherever you are listening. And your response is what? Okay. So what I'm asking you to do is just something. Now, Heaven, who's in South Dakota, she's involved now. What is it, Heaven, with your city council, I believe? There's other people who run for office. Some people are just in support. Go to my website. Go to boldrepublic.com, and there's a Get Involved page. Okay? There's stuff you can do if these guys are willing to go to these lengths. There's something you can do to save your country.
Have you heard? The National Debt Clock now has an app, so you can see what the debt is at any time. No, don't show it to yourself. Use it on your big government spending friends.
Yeah, sure, whatever. It's all relative.
Also, you can scroll and look at past debt and future debt. Oops, Don't get too close. It's a black hole. You don't want to get too close.
Selfie sticks help you capture perfectly composed pictures without your forearm in the shot. But you always feel self-conscious using one. Well, there's a way to get the perfect picture without looking like a narcissistic loner. It's called a friend. Take pictures confidently and comfortably, knowing that you don't look like the world's saddest wizard. In fact, you'll look more socially adjusted than ever before. Many concert venues and museums have banned selfie sticks, but a friend can always get through the door. And a friend is the only selfie stick that can hold a conversation about your experiences. Why, you may even find with a friend you're more interested in enjoying your surroundings instead of documenting them for strangers on the internet. But that's not all. Friend is the only selfie stick with the ability to automatically adjust framing, focus, and picture quality in an instant. Other selfie sticks can only expand up to a few feet, but Friend can extend as far as you want it to. 1 foot, 5, 800. Friend can do it in a snap and also do things like drive you to the airport or tell you when you're taking too many pictures. And Friend works with other friends. Want to take a picture of your friend? Just get a second friend or a third to take a picture of the first two. There's literally no limit to the number of friends you can have. Get 9 friends and play a game of football. You won't even have to take pictures because all your friends are there, experiencing it with you. Friends are available absolutely everywhere. You can even make your own using nothing but a common stranger and a little effort. But that's not all. Other selfie sticks can cost up to $20. But Friend is 100% free. Friend only free in concept. Friend may incur costs related to beer and birthdays. Do not refer to Friend as selfie stick or Friend will get upset. Order today.
When you don't plan ahead for next year's youth conference, you end up staying in a budget motel. When you stay in a budget motel, you get a foot fungus. When you get a foot fungus, you have to shop down the embarrassing aisle. When you shop down the embarrassing aisle, people make assumptions. When people make assumptions, rumors spread. When rumors spread, people don't like you. When people don't like you, you get cast as the back half of a horse in the school play. Don't get cast as the back half of a horse.
President Obama's Environmental Protection Agency is considering new regulations on ozone that could trigger some new crazy laws, such as bans on lawn mowing during certain times of the day, new parking space taxes, and new fees based on how many miles you drive your car. Visit stoptheepa.com to tell your legislator that President Obama's EPA should stay out of our wallets.
Viridian Dynamics. Sacrifice. President Obama decides to address the nation. And Viridian Dynamics suffers. Why? Because we own innocent television networks that are forced to provide El Jefe free airtime. Free time to talk about stuff too complicated for television viewers to understand anyway. We love our country. But why should we have to do anything to help it? We pay taxes. Sometimes. We know companies that don't even do that. GE. Viridian Dynamics. When presidents talk, Americans get hurt.
Need to let off a little steam? Yep, that's why we installed phone lines into the studio. Call Glenn now. Bold Republic is on the air. Here's Glenn Woods.
It's the Bold Republic Radio Show. My name is Glenn Woods. Thanks for joining me. As always, pretty much everything I talk about and a whole lot more. You find it on my website, which is boldrepublic.com. Now, usually, I wait a little bit later in the program to do this, but I'm going to be jumping around a lot of topics. There's so much to cover today. So since I'm topic hopping, you get to topic hop. 307-363-4093 is the number. That means you can change the subject, interrupt me if you have to, or talk about what I'm talking about, whatever you want to do. 307-363-4093. So here I go. There is a Chuck E. Cheese, according to this story, that refuses to serve a police officer who had a firearm. Oh, really? So you, okay, well, let's take a look at that. All right. There, you know something, just when you think, and I've read stories like this before on this program, but it's one of those things where you think, it's bad enough when you think there's a certain level of stupidity that people just can't go beyond. And they don't just go a little bit beyond it. It's not like you drew a line in the sand and your opponent put his big toe over the line. It's not like that. Oh, no, they get a running leap. Worse than that, sometimes you think they can't possibly go to another level of stupid, and they go Evel Knievel on you. Come running down the roadway on a motorcycle and get up on a ramp and just fly over your head. And then when you think, well, you know, they should have learned their lesson, you find more people continuing to make the same mistake over and over again. So this is one of a couple of stories that I have for you on that level of stupidity. So let's do this one. Kentucky Chuck E. Cheese appears to have taken a kid-friendly chain no-gun policy too far, refusing to serve a police officer who entered the restaurant with a firearm. The gun-toting officer encountered a problem at the Chuck E. Cheese in the Greenwood Mall in the city of Bowling Green, prompting outrage from people, including a sheriff from a neighboring jurisdiction. He said, "I was upset. I was shocked to find out that an officer also, for all these patrols, because, you know, obviously they have to go in and out of places. Sometimes they're wearing plain clothes, sometimes they're not. Hey, sometimes they're off duty, but as you know, an off-duty cop is never really off duty." Chuck E. Cheese National Headquarters called the situation unfortunate and a misunderstanding. Quote, "Our firearms policy does not apply to officers in uniform. We have a no firearms policy for civilians and off-duty, non-uniformed officers, but officers in uniform, we always allow them in. So what constitutes a uniform? The officer was refused entry because he was wearing a marked police polo shirt. And so in other words, he's wearing khakis and a polo shirt. Well, that's not like an officer dressed in, you know, a uniform, like the blue uniform with the cap or whatever. Therefore, we can't let him in." You see where we're going with this. All right. So you know, okay, and give Chuck E. Cheese some credit here. In this case, Chuck E. Cheese said, okay, that was a mistake. Thank you. Make sure it doesn't happen again. On we move. But hold on a second here. Wait. Who was the jerk who made that? Can we deal with him? I'd like to deal with him. But thanks for apologizing for the mistake. Now, for the rest of you, just so you know, I like Chuck E. Cheese. I think it's a really cool place. But just so you know, they've made Chuck E. Cheese a gun-free zone. Yeah, you thought your kids were just going to go there and play and have a good time. And now, unfortunately, because of this story that I just read to you, pretty much everybody out, every nutball out there knows that Chuck E. Cheese is a gun-free zone. And you know those nutballs that like to attack schools. Okay, here's a place where people go to have kids' parties, and it's a gun-free zone. So unfortunately, your kids are ultra, extra unsafe at a Chuck E. Cheese.
Bold Republic.
Many people know that Cleopatra loved emeralds. What you may not know is that many of Cleopatra's emeralds were actually peridot. This is Bruce at Marshall Jewelry here in Gillette, and peridot is the birthstone for August. When you think of peridot, forget that ugly olive color that you used to see and think bright apple green. Marshall Jewelry has a great selection of rings, earrings, and necklaces. Prices start at under $200. We have lots of peridot jewelry for less than $300. If you're interested in something special, we can custom make it for you. Layaways are always welcome. Marshall Jewelry, where she'll love it, guaranteed.
Hey, Luigi, that meal was so good. Mamma mia, that was even better than a mama made back in the old country. What is your wife's secret? Olive oil, 100% grown and pressed in the USA. She brought it from a Swede. Where can I find this Swede?
Give Swede a call, 686-0588, or go to swedespecialty.com.
Arrivederci.
Hello, Americans. This is Rod with my Made in America store at 900 Camel Drive, Gillette, Wyoming, where it's always made right here in the USA. We are proud to serve our customers with the only store in the region to carry exclusively American-made products. Try our local honey and candies. 10% discount for service members past and present. Free flag and pocket constitution with purchase. We the people are the solution. Don't forget our veterans. God bless America and buy American. It matters. MyMadeInAmericaStore.com.
So, you sell widgets?
Yes.
What's a widget?
A widget goes on a what's it.
I see, I guess, but I've never heard of a what's it.
Oh, it's a very specialized industry.
How's business?
It's hard to connect widget makers with what's it operators. I wish there was a way to make what's it aware of where we are, at.
You know, I think they just heard you.
Hello, Glenwood Show listeners. I'm Nick DeLotte in the Bold Republic radio show. Currently, the Bold Republic show is heard in North and South Dakota, Nebraska, Montana, and Wyoming. Our phone, tablet, app, plus our internet presence reaches far beyond that, pretty much throughout the entire English-speaking world. So contact me now. We can connect your widgets to the what's it so you can do whatever. Call me at 307-670-2733 or find my email address on the front page of boldrepublic.com.
This show runs on lots of cigars and lots of coffee. So it's sort of like a London fog look in the studio.
With that hyper-nervous feeling as if Jack the Ripper was on the loose.
Creepy, but entertaining. It's Glenn Woods.
All right, so I said all Evel Knievel on you, but I could also throw out another one. How about jumping the shark? For those just joining me, here's what I'm talking about. I'm just complaining. And I know you're thinking, no, Glenn, complain, not you. No, I'm just blowing off some steam here. I'm just so sick and tired of, there are people out there who make a mistake, okay? And you think, okay, so we heard the story. Everybody understands that's a mistake. Like for example, some apartment somewhere. A guy goes to put an American flag up. And the apartment complex says, that's against our rule because you might offend somebody. And so right away from around the country comes all of the noise from upset Americans. What do you mean the guy can't put an American flag up from his own back deck on the apartment he's renting for you? So you would think other apartment complexes around the country would learn the lesson, but somebody always goes and does it again. And sometimes when you think, well, nobody can possibly top that level of stupid, somebody jumps to the shark. Now, if you don't know, I said go Evel Knievel because I'm trying to picture him jumping the Snake River Canyon again. But okay. For those who don't know the jump the shark reference, the TV show Happy Days had been on top of the ratings heap for so long, and they were running out of ideas to stay on top of the ratings heap, and it looks like they were about to start losing their ratings just because of Happy Days fatigue. So their season finale, they had the Fonz get on some skis on a dare, and he was going to water ski. There was somehow they pinned in a shark, and he was going to jump the shark. The episode was so over the top and so ridiculous, it just crashed their ratings altogether. Completely just obliterated their ratings pretty much overnight. It was too much for the audience to handle. And you see this all the time in politics and in other news stories. People just get out there and jump the shark. So desperate, they do the most ridiculous things. And you would think that people would learn stories like this. Remember the kid I told you about a while ago who showed up at school with an American flag? He just rides a bike, and he put a big American flag, a big one, flapping off the back of his bike because he has relatives that are serving in Afghanistan. And the school actually approached him and said, you can't do that because, it might offend some people going to the school. And so you can't show up at school with that flag. And the outrage from around the country, and the school had to eventually back down on that. You would think that other schools around the country would hear that story and learn, and you would never have to hear that story again. But no, let's go. What was it? South Carolina, folks? I think it was. There was a student, I know it was in the South. A student was told, you can't show up to school. He has 2 American flags flapping off of the pickup truck, the bed of his pickup truck, right behind the cab, of course. Big poles. Big flags. Not can't do that. Same reason, because some people might find this offensive, and so during while the kid was in class, I think it was the vice principal went out and took the flags down and laid them in the bed of his truck. Well, what happened the next day? Every kid who drove to that high school showed up with American flags flapping off of their vehicles, and veterans set a protest outside of the school and applauded the students as they pulled in. The school backs down, right? So you would think, story number 2, okay, now every single school in the country has heard this story. There's no way that somebody's going to make this mistake again. Okay, here we go again. Tennessee this time. Tennessee, what's happening to you? Well, I expect to hear this story in like California, okay? Tennessee. Tennessee school district tells students they will be kicked out if they bring an American flag on school property. Oh, wow. Really? Okay. Tennessee school district, according to this story, has banned students from bringing American flags on campus because it doesn't want to take the chance on students bringing any flag that could be seen offensive by others. Now, what they decided to do, just so you know, this is not specifically against the American flag. As the story goes, because of the controversy over the rebel flag, the Confederate battle flag, if you will, they don't want anyone showing up in school with a Confederate battle flag. It might be offensive to somebody else. So because of that, then what else are we going to ban? And they started going through all the different kinds of flags and finally decided, we're just banning all flags. JC, again, I got to stop and go, and how many times do we have to go through this? The Dickinson County, you make up your own jokes on that one, school district decision came after a summer of heated debate over the Confederate flag removal from the grounds of South Carolina's State House, authorities say. White supremacists went on a shooting rampage, and you know the whole story. The American flag just outside of the entrance of the school's district will stay. Oh, so you can fly the flag in front of the school flag will still be raised, but you can't walk in with it on your backpack or something. Quote, the American flag outside the entrance will still stay, but students who wish to express themselves more personally won't be able to. And now the school is embroiled in a debate about freedom of speech and freedom of expression. Well, aren't you allowed to express yourself? I mean, I'm trying to remember, folks, what country were we in here? Oh, yeah. The freest in the world. Well, we're not the freest in the world. America's now a free-ish country. And this is more proof of being free-ish. Now, here's the good news. I'm going to give you the right side of this. Okay. The good news is these students have to go through this. And they're not going to take it lying down, and they're going to fight back. American public schools these days are a place of indoctrination. Well, they're about to get a dose of rebellion, which is the thing that made America in the first place, and that's a good thing.
Hello, welcome to Coffee Cabana. Our special today is the popular Mocha Mocha Kappa Mocha Kappa. What can I blend for you today?
Cup of coffee, please.
I'm sorry?
I'm sorry, just a regular size coffee, please. That's all.
Oh, I guess I don't understand.
What part of that don't you understand?
Well, for one, we have several different sizes: petite, medio, alto, forte, muy grande, and crescendo.
All right. I just want a small cup of regular coffee, please.
But
Okay, look. Point to the cup that's the smallest. Okay, there you go. That's the one.
Oh, okay, I see. And what would you like at that?
Coffee.
And?
Just coffee.
But we have syrups and powders and toppings and frappalapalattas.
Just coffee. Plain old coffee in a freaking cup.
Oh,
Look, okay, take the cup. Perfect. Now, hold it under the coffee spout. Good. Now fill it up. There you go. Now, give it to me.
That's it?
Yes, that's all.
Well, how odd.
Yeah, whatever. How much?
$6.50, sir.
Sorry?
$6.50?
How is this little cup of coffee more expensive than a gallon of gasoline in my car? I didn't even add any frappa, lappa, mocha crap or whatever to it.
Well, sir, the beans are dried on solar panels.
Never mind.
And then we use wind power to generate. But we're green.
Look, I'll give you $20 if you don't say another word.
But,
nope. There you go. Good girl.
Might I suggest trading that for a decaf?
What's a good cup of coffee if you can't spit it across the dashboard now and then, right? Oh, yeah, and ruin a good work shirt. Sure, burn the hell out of your inner thighs. We know what you need, though, in a radio program.
Irreverent but honest, and tastefully tacky. It's Glenn Woods.
It's the Bold Republic Radio Show. My name's Glenn Woods. Thanks for joining me. Phone number to get involved, 307-363-4093. That's 307-363-4093. Don't forget, you can listen off of the app or you can listen off of radio stations. There's so many ways to catch this show. People watching on the video stream right now, and those people who are listening off of some device other than a radio or watching the program. You can go ahead and drop me a note. I'll get the note, and I'll go ahead and answer your question as well. It's open phones at this point. I'm just doing it early. 307-363-4093 is the phone number. So let's go with one more group that should have figured this out a long time ago. And why they haven't, I have no idea. Okay, we're going to go down to, have you heard this story? Marching band barred from playing halftime hymn. And what does the audience do? Now, this gives me hope. When I read stories like I'm about to read to you, this happens on occasion, and it gives me hope. Remember the story of, and it was, they didn't want to do or sing the national anthem at some baseball game just because they were running out of time. And so everybody in the stands just stood up and did it anyway. Okay. And there are times like the stories I just got done giving to you where the American people are reminded about their sense of individualism and rebellion, which is a good thing. And now and then they stand up and say, no, I'm just not going to put up with your rule. You can forget it. Here's the story. Again, we're going to the South. I expect this stuff to be in California. Here's the difference between California and the South, or a place like Wyoming or Montana or the Dakotas or you folks in Nebraska. Not a West Coaster, though. Not those people on the West Coast. They wouldn't do this. On the West Coast, if they were told, hey, you can't play that hymn because you might offend somebody. Okay, we won't do that. But if you're dealing with the more rebellious nature of individual thinkers, like in places like Tennessee, well, they just don't put up with it. Here's the story. A Mississippi school district had just been through some serious gravel pounding from a federal judge, including a $7,500 fine, which, by the way, I wouldn't have paid. And they didn't want any more problems. U.S. District Judge gave Rankin County School District the word on July 10th, saying it promoted Christianity during school hours to play a hymn as part of the music that they played. So Reeves fined the school district $7,500 and ordered it to stop sponsoring prayers at graduations, assemblies, athletic competitions, and other school events. That means the administrators, teacher, and staff of the school may not participate in any religious activity or solicit or encourage religious activities at schools while performing duties. So when the district learned that the school marching band was banned from playing a Christian hymn, How Great They Are, during halftime, well, that should have been the end of it, right? Well, the judge has spoken. The school was fined. The band is not allowed to play How Great Thou Art, and so it's over, right? Halftime came at the last football game they played, and everybody just stood up in the stands and started singing How Great Thou Art. To whoever filed the lawsuit, there's your answer. To the judge, there's your answer. Okay, for those people who might be offended, well, it's school. I mean, separation, church and state, and yada, yada, yada. Look, the best thing to do is understand freedom comes with the idea that you're not going to be necessarily living in a country where people believe the way you believe. There's many different kinds of beliefs out there. So if I go to a football game, which, by the way, I'm not a sports fan, but okay, let's say I'm at one, and it's a small southern town. And in that small southern town during halftime, the band plays all sorts of music, including a couple of things out of the hymnal. I kind of shrug my shoulders and I figure, I'm in a small southern town, and that's how they do down here. That's just fine. And no, it doesn't offend me whatsoever. I wouldn't even think about it. That's their business. If that's what they like here in the South, okay. For those folks out there who are religious, it strikes a chord. Now, if you would immediately ask the question, well, what if they started to play some Jewish thing on the accordion or whatever the hell? I have no problem whatsoever with them playing some Jewish religious tune. I only have a problem with the accordion. But go right ahead if that's what you want to do. That's fine. For those people who might be offended by it, okay, listen carefully. Because there are people in America today that are offended by everything. Here's my answer to that. Grow up. Being offended by every little thing and demanding that something be done about it so you won't be offended shows a lack of maturity on your part. Okay? That is a lack of maturity. Let me tell you what maturity is. You understand that you live in a free country and people are going to live lifestyles that you don't necessarily like. They're going to believe things that you're not necessarily going to like or understand. And you just shrug your shoulders and smile and say to yourself, well, when you're in a free country, this is how it is. People in a free country do all sorts of things that I disagree with. And just leave that smile on your face with the idea that knowing that's what freedom is. The freedom to be different and express it.
Also, as more and more GOP lawmakers are speaking out against Planned Parenthood these days, the organization is firing back now with an ad campaign against Republican senators facing tough elections. These ads will only run in the home states of 4 senators, including Ohio's Rob Portman and Wisconsin's Ron Johnson. The 4 targeted lawmakers all voted to advance legislation that would defund the nonprofit. In the ad campaign, Planned Parenthood claims their efforts could possibly lead us to a government shutdown. One America's Matt Shuck has more on this from Washington.
The effort to defund Planned Parenthood has continued to divide the country, with Democrats calling it a Republican war on women and conservatives outraged over the release of video showing high-ranking employees discussing the sale of aborted fetal tissue. A Republican-led Senate even introduced legislation that would defund the controversial health clinic, but was 7 votes shy of the 60 needed to advance. But what would happen to the millions of patients that Planned Parenthood helps if Congress were to defund the controversial organization? Investigative reporter Kelsey Harkness found that answer.
Planned Parenthood argues that if you took away their funding, a lot of low-income women wouldn't have access to contraceptives. But in reality, there's actually way more local health clinics that already exist out there that claim that they can provide these services.
Kelsey Harkness is a reporter for the Daily Signal. She worked with the Susan B. Anthony List, a pro-life advocacy group, and put together a map of over 13,000 community health clinics that would be ready to receive federal funding if Planned Parenthood were successfully defunded.
Is the question we need to be asking right now, do women want Planned Parenthood or do they need Planned Parenthood? These maps suggest that no, women don't need Planned Parenthood.
Still, even if a vote to defund Planned Parenthood passed Congress, it would still be funded as part of a continuing resolution, or members of Congress may face another government shutdown. But could these clinics provide the answer to a sensitive problem?
They're arguing to take that money and funnel it into these over 13,000 other local community health clinics available right now. About 9,000 of them we know are already eligible for government funding, and some of them are already receiving it. So, we're not just trying to take away women's health care needs.
Kelsey went on to say that even though Planned Parenthood performs preventative health screenings for women, the organization still sends them to be treated across the street to these very clinics. Matt Shuck, One America News, Washington.
President Obama's Environmental Protection Agency is considering new regulations on ozone that could trigger some new crazy laws, such as bans on lawn mowing during certain times of the day, new parking space taxes, and new fees based on how many miles you drive your car. Visit stoptheepa.com to tell your legislator that President Obama's EPA should stay out of our wallets.
Governor Mike Huckabee, how was your summer? It was dope, like your pretty gelled head. Oh, thank you. I'm getting it permed. Hey, all you freaks are bozos, but who's this Mindy? Oh, an old friend, actually. She's great. Okay, you have to be joking. She pooped on the treadmill. Ooh, oh yeah, that's her.
Governor Christie, when you were younger, what was your favorite childhood snack?
I just wanted regular potatoes. But guess what? So did other people. I wanted it the most, so I'm like...
You just froze a baby.
I want it the most.
You just froze a baby.
I did not.
Genital warts. You touched a genital wart. You can't touch it.
Hey, guys, hey. All right,
You're
enough.
a wart toucher.
Stop saying that. Mr. Trump, will I have a pigeon? Lucas Don Velour. I always take it shopping because I want to and because it's got health. Whatever. Look, it's a thing the tuna melt does to me. Senator Cruz.
You shouldn't say the S word.
What?
Well, we could just go out and collect a dead swan, and then I will drink a sorority's goldfish.
Moving on, let's hear from Dr. Carson. Now, this piece, I think it goes like that. And this one, no, this piece goes over here. It's part of the tree. Carson! Oh, see ya. What you working on? A puzzle. I don't know how to do this, actually. We can move on. You're not missing any playtime. America.
Governor Bush.
What?
How would you get a dead mouse on a crescent roll with some steak?
With some steak, I would fork it. However, if a pit bull is loose in your house, then you'll find me stiff on the bed because I'll always throw up. You'll have 13 seconds to make a closing statement in the form of a short song. And Governor Christie, you're first. Well, think about the time we bought you an ice cream and a cookie. Rented that Lambo so we could go buy milk when we played hooky. And that was our ride, we rode it around. Yeah, mama, it was good. Till we hit that boy in the pink golf.
No matter what you've heard, if you like your doctor or healthcare plan, you can keep it. If you don't have insurance, you'll finally be able to afford insurance. And everyone will have the security and stability that's missing today.
Health and Human Services Secretary Kathleen Sebelius did acknowledge some people will see their health care costs go up.
I just see a huge train wreck coming down. You and I have discussed this many times, and I don't see any results.
I happen to be a proponent of a single-payer universal health care.
Never said that we should try to go ahead and get single-payer.
The president has directed us to take action to fight these cartels, and Attorney General Holder and I are taking several new and aggressive steps as part of the administration's comprehensive plan.
I'm not sure the exact date, but I probably heard about Fast and Furious for the first time over the last few weeks.
I heard on the news about this story that Fast and Furious.
These protests, reaction to a video that many Muslims find offensive.
This video is disgusting and reprehensible.
I don't care how offensive this video was, and it was terribly offensive. And we should shun it.
What happened this week in Cairo, in Benghazi, and many other parts of the region was a result, a direct result of a heinous and offensive video.
I asked her why the ambassador had said there was a demonstration when the embassy had reported only an attack.
The fact is, we had 4 dead Americans. Was it because of a protest, or was it because of guys out for a walk one night who decided they'd go kill some Americans? What difference at this point does it make?
Irreverent, but honest and tastefully tacky somehow. Here comes another hour of insensitivity training with Glenn Woods.
Well, just pointing out to a few people in this next segment that perhaps if one thing is racist, then another is. We're going to test a theory. Hang on, interesting argument coming your way. Here we go. It's the Bold Republic Radio Show. My name is Glenn Woods. Thanks for joining me. Phone number if you want to get involved, 307-363-4093. That's 307-363-4093. And as always, pretty much everything that I talk about and a whole lot more, you find it on my website, which is boldrepublic.com. So I like to test theories now and then, sort of like word games, if you will. And look at it this way. I've made this analogy before. I think it's a pretty good one. Let's say you're running a math problem. The first number, you're just going to add. Okay, the first number is 1,226. The second number is 354. Okay, add those two together. What do you get as an answer? Okay, there you go. Now, are you sure that's the right answer? Okay, so take the sum that you got and subtract it by one of the other numbers, like the 264 or 364 or whatever, and see if you get the 1,000 number again. Can you subtract and get back to where you started from? If you can, then you did it right. Then your math is correct. Okay? Well, we should do a similar thing when it comes to some people who have theories that are completely untested and unprovable. So let me give you an example. Some time ago, I gave to you guys a story that came out of Los Angeles. Believe it or not, there were some people there that believed, and some other places in California. There are some people who actually believe that because most fast food restaurants are in minority neighborhoods, that just shows that the fast food restaurant is a racist restaurant. Why else would they put most of their restaurants in, let's say, black neighborhoods? Well, obviously that's racist. And if the restaurant chain, and that's actually been an accusation, and so city councils around California and even in Colorado have passed ordinances because, well, that's just wrong. You have to be diverse, you see. The restaurant chain, of course, answers, well, this is ridiculous. we're putting in a white neighborhood, we'll get some business out of it. We'll do okay, sure. But we put the same restaurant in a black neighborhood, and Lord, we'll make a load of money. We'll make a lot of money off of that. So we're going to go where the business is. And right away you hear from the activists, but you're getting these people to eat unhealthy foods. They would be eating healthy foods if there were healthy choices available in their neighborhood. If we had restaurants with organic food, I'm not kidding you. They actually make these arguments. If you get like grocery stores with organic food in there, then that's what these people are going to eat, and that's going to be healthy for them. And it turns out when you move the restaurants further out of the neighborhood, the customers just follow. They just go find them because they like eating their fast food, okay? Folks eat what they eat, and if you move the food further away, they just go further to get it. It didn't change anything. But that's actually been an argument. And one of the bigger ones is Kentucky Fried Chicken. So Kentucky Fried Chicken is a racist restaurant chain. If you look at the location of most Kentucky Fried Chicken restaurants, they're mostly located in black neighborhoods. Now, Kentucky Fried Chicken argues, but that's where the bulk of our business is. We get more business out of black neighborhoods than any other neighborhood. So, of course, we're going to locate most of our businesses there. Denver, Colorado disagreed. And so basically ran Kentucky Fried Chicken out of Denver. South Park, the TV show South Park, actually did an episode on it. It was hysterical. One of the funniest episodes I've ever seen them do. And they've got some gut busters, but this was really wow. Okay, so let's take their premise and test it. The premise is, well, if you most of Kentucky Fried Chicken restaurants are located in black neighborhoods, then Kentucky Fried Chicken is racist. To the point that cities around the country have actually passed ordinances to make sure that they can't do that. And Denver even ran Kentucky Fried Chicken off out of Denver. Okay, let's test that theory. We're gonna add it up like a mathematical formula. If most Kentucky Fried Chickens are located in black neighborhoods, then Kentucky Fried Chicken is racist. Got it? Okay. Most Planned Parenthood clinics are located in black neighborhoods, therefore Planned Parenthood is racist. I looked it up. I heard it. I thought about it for a minute, and I thought, is that true? I was listening to a news story, and somebody in the news story just mentioned, well, 70%, they actually said 70%. I looked it up. That's about right. Or thereabout, a very close percentage, if not exactly 70%. 70% of Planned Parenthood clinics by the left, that means that Planned Parenthood is racist. Now, if you want to have some fun, should you meet someone who is actually just that much of a nutball to say, well, if most fast food restaurants are in black neighborhoods, fast food restaurants, that just shows they're racist. Throw them that argument about Planned Parenthood. Not because I expect you to win some kind of an argument. I don't expect you to win some kind of an argument with this. That's not what I'm after. You're not going to get through to them. The fact that they came up with that argument in the first place shows a mental disorder of great proportion and magnitude, and you are not going to get through to them, so don't even try to argue the point. Don't even try it. Okay? I just want you to present that argument so you can have the pleasure of sitting back and watching their heads explode as they try to argue their way out of it. And I would even suggest, as they try to argue their way out of it, don't engage them. I know it's tempting to engage him in the argument. No, don't do it. Here's what I want you to do instead. Because what I'm about to suggest is far more annoying. And I'm asking you to do something really annoying. Go for it, okay? Present this argument to them. Then I want you to just step back and smile and watch. The more they talk, the more you just smile at them. Don't say anything. Okay, because what you're watching here, do you remember, for those Star Trek fanatics out there? Yeah, I know there's a couple people listening right now. That'd be me. For you Star Trek fanatics out there, some of my favorite episodes when I was a kid was when Captain Kirk would stand. There's a couple of episodes where he did this. I think more than one. There might have actually been 3, where he stood in front of a computer and argued with the computer and was able to use logic, if you will, or twisted logic even, to get the computer to basically have a freeze meltdown. You cause it to crash. Apparently, the machine blows up. We're just now inventing quantum computers. They figured something else out entirely beyond quantum computers. In the future, the fact that they're on a space station, they could, or a ship, they could blow the whole thing up. So this is what we're doing here. It's a Captain Kirk kind of a crash. You are causing the liberal mind to crash. You're presenting to it some kind of an argument, and the liberal brain finds itself twisting. And here's what they're twisting to do. The liberal brain is actually twisting itself to try to take something that was just proven wrong and make it sound logically correct. Okay? Now, you know what happens when you do that? You start sounding like Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Okay. So don't ever find yourself doing this. You know, even Sarah Palin made this mistake. Remember she was in an interview, I think Katie Couric was interviewing her, and she tried to defend something that the Republicans had done that was just flat out indefensible. She tried to defend it, and it didn't work. Figure this out after that. Don't ever try to defend the indefensible. Just don't. As you prove your leftist friend wrong on Planned Parenthood, the logical answer to them should be just walk away. And admit that you're wrong and walk away. They can't do it. I've got another argument they're trying to present to us. We're going to take it apart next. Hang in there. Summertime. You know, the great outdoors. You know what half with arrows, knives, camping equipment, from tents to sleeping bags, clothing, bug spray, fishing line, lures, tackle bait, cooking equipment, MREs, even all the latest electronic gadgets, and they've got it all at cigarette butts. No, cigarette butts are worth 10 and beer taps are worth 25. I thought the pop taps. TVs?
On this internet site.
Great. Sounds fun.
Well,
You don't sound too excited about it.
my ancestors were lame. Most were peasants. No one did anything interesting in any of the Great Wars. They were all assigned to cleaning out the latrines and digging graves.
No kings or lords in your lineage?
I wish. A lot of them spent most of their time in jail, and they weren't even interesting criminals. Look, this guy was hung for trying to steal a dead pig from a homeless man. I wish my family treated and sucked.
Would you like to buy a new one?
What? Really? I can do that? Family.
.com, because you deserve better than your loser inbred family lineage.
Wow, that's a nice kite. I love kite flying.
I don't. It gets so windy out here. Last week, I almost ended up in the next county.
Oh, well, then why do you do it?
Well, I need more business if I'm going to survive. But all my customers are on the other side of those hills over there, and I can't afford to advertise across the region. I just want to connect with them.
You know, I think you just did.
Hello, Glenwood Show listeners. I'm Nick Delata from the Bold Republic Radio Show. Currently, the Bold Republic Show is heard in North and South Dakota, Nebraska, Montana, and Wyoming. Our phone, tablet app, plus our internet presence reaches far beyond that, pretty much throughout the entire English-speaking world. So contact me now, 670-2733, or find my email address on the front page of boldrepublic.com.
Sorting through the nonsensical nonsense that makes your life a living hell. It's Glenn Woods. BoldRepublic.com.
So, okay, back in I dive, and here's what I'm doing for you folks out there. I'm just taking a look at some arguments that are being tossed our way right now, and I'm saying, okay, folks, hold on a second now. This is easy to handle. You don't have to get into a long, drawn-out discussion with some people when actually this is easy to handle. Like I just did with the fast food restaurant thing and Planned Parenthood. Just prove to you, using their own logic, Planned Parenthood is a racist organization, using their own logic. Okay, so now, the big thing is you're not allowed, according to them, to say illegal aliens or illegal immigrants. Well, you're not allowed to say that because if you do, you're being racist. Okay, now we already know the answer to this, but I'll go ahead and give it to you anyway. But you already know this. So the answer to this is, well, did they immigrate here? Yes. Okay. Did they do it legally? No. Okay. Well, then what are they? And just stand back and watch their heads explode. But wait a second. We got to address the anchor baby thing. First, let me get to the phones. Hi, this is Glenn, who's on the phone.
Hey, Glenn, it's DJ.
Yes, DJ. What you got?
I'm not hearing you on 103.1 right now. It went to NBC Sports.
Okay, let me see here. I'm broadcasting to them.
Okay.
Okay, so it's got to be on there, and if you can check it out.
Thanks, bye.
Thank you much. Okay. Well, 103.1 went to some sports thing. Okay. I didn't know if some of our stations preempt us during the course of the show. So I have no idea if they have some kind of a game or something like that they have to play. But some stations preempt us. But if they ever do, if your station ever preempts the program, there's several ways. Just go to my website, boldrepublic.com. Check out the show archives page. There's all these different ways you can hear the program live or later. So if you want to hear the program and your radio station isn't carrying it, just go around. Okay. All right. So the next one, anchor babies. We've got to handle the anchor baby thing somehow. Easy. So did somebody come to this country just to have a baby so they can get U.S. citizenship under the 14th Amendment of the Constitution? Now, if they try to argue with you, well, nobody's doing that. And by the way, there will be a lot of changing the subject on this. Here's the question. I'll ask it again. It's real simple. Do people from other countries, and I didn't necessarily say south of the border, did I? I'm not talking necessarily south of the border. Did people or do people from other countries come here to give birth just so they can become U.S. citizens? Yes or no? And if you check out the 14th Amendment, you'll see how that's possible. It's a yes or no question. Now, after they get done trying to bob and dodge and weave, they finally will say, yes, people do. Oh, and by the way, you can show them a story. I showed that you can talk about people who come from south of the border to do that. But you can also show them the story that in California, there are people spending, well, actually, they're coming from China, but they're spending like up to $90,000 in some cases to go to an apartment complex right next to a hospital. So they can have babies here in America so that they are now American citizens and they can just stay in the country. So just show them that story and the many other stories. Now, again, you don't really have to say much here. Here's the question again. Do people come to America to have their baby just so they can be considered American citizens under the 14th Amendment? Yes or no? And when they say yes, the answer is, well, they're doing that. They're bringing that baby into the world here in America to anchor themselves. That baby is an anchor. That's an anchor baby. No, that is not a racist term. It's not a racist term because it doesn't matter what the race of the person is. It just doesn't matter. Oh, good. Apparently we're back on 103.1 in the middle of the call. Okay. No, I like that. No, DJ, I'll tell you why I like that. You were right in the middle of calling and complaining about it. And because obviously you were there complaining about it, they heard you and got you back on here. I'm going with that one. Got the program back on here. So 103.1, and they're over in Sundance is where the tower is located in. Well, if you don't know Sundance, just think of Bush Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Like that Sundance where he was from. Okay. Show continues momentarily. Don't hold your breath. It's bad for you.
Lack of transparency is a huge political advantage.
You heard that right. Let me quote him again. Lack of transparency, says Jonathan Gruber. Huge political advantage, he says.
Jonathan Gruber is one of the most respected economists in the world.
Now, I respect the Clintons back in '93 for actually having tried to get this done. But, see, I think they did it the wrong way because they went behind closed doors.
I don't know if you have seen Jonathan Gruber of MIT's analysis.
Basically, call it the stupidity of the American voter or whatever.
Too stupid to understand.
It's a very clever, basic exploitation of the lack of economic understanding of the American voter.
We have to pass the bill so that you can find out what is in it.
Hi, Paul Glasgow here with Legally Owned America. Look, anybody that knows us knows that we are true blue, red-blooded, apple pie-eating Americans. The one thing that we like most about being American is the fact that we have choices. We can make choices in this country without being discriminated against or treated differently because of those choices. AK, AR. No matter which one you choose, the guns are going to go bang. Thing is, you can generate a lot of debate about which one of these is the best, but they still accomplish what you're trying to do. But there are some places out there where your choices are not welcome. And these guys, definitely not welcome. Some of the social media sites out there discriminated against gun owners, gun businesses, people in the firearms industry, period. Heck, their dollars aren't even welcome out there. Some of these gun companies try to advertise on social medias and they get stifled, shut down, and banned from being able to put any of these advertisements out there. That's why we at Legally Owned America decided to create Gun District. GunDistrict.com is a really cool social media place for gun owners, gun businesses, gun enthusiasts in general. It's a good place to go. You can advertise, you can promote, you can sell, you can do whatever you want on this website as long as you follow state and federal laws, of course, but you can do so without the fear of being discriminated against because the topic just happens to be firearms and the social media site that you just happen to be on is anti-gun. We're not. Gun District is 100% pro-gun, 100% pro-Second Amendment. You can do things on this website that are just simply not allowed on other websites out there. Go check it out, GunDistrict.com. No matter which one you choose, these two guys go bang. Gun District, it goes bang. Some of the other social media sites, not so much.
To everyone. Subject, an email about email. It seems like everything these days generates email. Every treaty, every trade negotiation, every real estate transaction, and pretty much every lobbyist you talk to makes more and more email. And juggling all those emails can be tough. It's a chore to carry around multiple devices. For most people, it's one device for work, one device for home, and one device for liaising with billionaire Arabs. That's why we made Hillary Mail, the all-in-one email solution for work, for yoga class, or for highly classified information. Your messages are stored far away on a server in the garage of a luxury home in rural New York, protected by a 10-foot fence and a state-of-the-art Secret Service agent named Phil, making sure your email is far from the reach of freedom of information laws, congressional oversight, and journalists. And for extra peace of mind, you have the ability to disappear anything you don't want anyone else to read, regardless of your ethical obligation. Opt for convenience. Opt for Hillary Mail. Hillary Mail is not protected from hacking.
Viridian Dynamics. Did you ever want to give birth to a beautiful baby, even though you're a guy? We're working on it. Viridian Dynamics. Pregnant guys. To find out more, go to viridiandynamics.com.
Need to let off a little steam? Yep, that's why we installed phone lines into the studio. Call Glenn now. Old Republic is on the air. Here's Glenn Woods.
It's a Bold Republic Radio Show. My name is Glenn Woods. Thanks for joining me. Now, phone number if you want to get involved. It is open phones. You can also go ahead and send a message if you want to do that on the video stream or the app stream or however you're listening to the program if you're not listening on the local radio station. Phone number I'll see those messages. I'll read them all. Phone number if you want to get involved, 307-363-4093. That's 307-363-4093. As always, pretty much everything I talk about, a whole lot more. You find it on my website, boldrepublic.com. So let's go to the Wall Street problem we've been having. Well, this didn't happen overnight. What's happening on Wall Street didn't just happen over the weekend, obviously. So a lot of people have been tracking this for a while. We've been into a plunge for a while now. Here is the latest from Fox Business News. Wall Street slammed amid global growth fears. U.S. equity markets capped a tumultuous trading day, the story says, which began with a 1,089-point plunge of the Dow, solid into negative territory. At the closing bell, Dow Jones average wiped out 584 points, or 3.55%, to 15875. The S&P 500 dropped 77 points. And then 10 S&P 500 sectors were in negative territory, with energy declining the most. Well, that's disturbing for those people in the energy industry, which is why I read that one twice, and I'm surrounded by people where we are right now who are. The Dow saw its biggest intraday point drop on Monday at an opening bell as it plunged 1,089 points at the start of trading. All three major U.S. averages fell into correction territory. A weekend to digest, the story says. Global economic growth concerns failed to settle nerves in Wall Street as U.S. equities extended a sell-off in global markets, heightened fears of significant deterioration in China. By the way, China, their way of fighting this in part is by adjusting their currency. Well, and here from the story that's in front of me reads, quote, China is definitely the number one cause for concern globally, and Europe is not far behind. The speed at which this market has moved sharply lower is an indication panic is driving all investment decisions. If you haven't positioned yourself for volatility and seasonal weakness, you're behind the eight ball. So China's saying it's the Shanghai Composite Index is what they call it, plummeted more than 9% today, and that closed down 8.5% at the end of the day for markets in Asia. Hong Kong tumbled 5.17%. Japan's Nikkei 4.61%. So across the globe, this has been a problem. So at this speed, European equity markets didn't fare much better, and it has all the numbers for that. Adjusted, it's typically known as a quiet month here in August, but okay, a lot is being adjusted out there. And then this story gets into commodities and all of the insider things, and Fox News has this on their website right now if you want to see all the details on it. Okay, so question I got yesterday from Heaven, who's in South Dakota. She says, I'm young. What do I do? How do I diversify? What do we do here? Okay, the answer is and I've already told the story of the old farmer who watched the stock market crash and thought, oh, those poor people. But he wasn't feeling it himself because, well, he's got goats and pigs and yada, yada, yada. When I say diversify, I'm not going to act like you're a broker here. I'm just going to say, when I say diversify, you don't just diversify in the market. You diversify in other parts of your life because, look, fact of the matter is, for various reasons, crashes like this happen from time to time. Yes, a lot of the times it's the fault of your government getting it involved in the market. The more they poke around and get involved in there, the worse it gets. That's a good part of it right there. They think they're helping. Do you know that before the crash that caused the Great Depression, there was a bigger crash before that? Did you know that? A bigger crash happened just like a year or two or whatever before the crash of the Great Depression. The thing is, back in those days, your federal government did not get involved in the economy. They just didn't touch it. So the economy bounced back quickly because people wanted to get back on their feet. What caused the Great Depression was not so much the crash, jumped in to help. And that dragged on beyond World War II. No, World War II did not solve the Great Depression. Okay, it actually made it worse. We've talked about that before as well. So the answer really is, instead of pointing fingers and blaming and all that right now, that's not what I'm doing. What I'm saying to you instead is, okay, just remember, always remember, diversify your life. And I don't just mean in what investments you have as far as on Wall Street or bonds or whatever the hell. But make sure, like that farmer, should something ever happen, like a prepper. I'm not saying zombie apocalypse prepping, but you do have stuff set aside, like if a hurricane were to hit, for those listening to me that are living on coastlines, or tornadoes rip apart your town, or there's an earthquake. Are you prepared? Can you survive for a time? Okay, because these things do happen on occasion. It's best that you were the wise one who was prepared.
BoldRepublic.com.
You could either spend $100 getting your phone fixed, or you could go ahead and spend $400 to replace it. At Selectel Wireless in Gillette, we fix phones. Most generally, what breaks is the digitizer or the LCD. This is from being dropped, being smashed, thrown against the wall. No, seriously, 9 times out of 10, people throw their phones. Well, we can fix that too. Save money, fix it, don't replace it. Come see us at Selectel Wireless, next to Office Depot in Gillette, Wyoming. But if you do need a new phone, we have those too.
Hey, did you hear that Pat's Liquor is giving away a Budweiser dartboard?
They're giving away a harpsichord? What would I do with that?
No, I said dartboard.
I can't play music on that.
You're not supposed to. You throw darts at it. Buy any Budweiser product at Pat's Liquor and get entered to win in the drawing. Register to win September 1st through the 7th. Then join Pat's Liquor for a barbecue party and dartboard drawing on September 7th. Pat's Liquor, 600 South Douglas Highway in Gillette, where you don't have to be Irish to get lucky, but it doesn't hurt. It'd be great to win a new dartboard.
I don't need one. I have an iPod.
You're an idiot.
I suppose you're planning a nice retirement, and you assume everything is paid for. But Wyoming didn't tell you. Who is paying for your pension?
I'm gonna owe lots of money. And it's all your fault. I wanna pay for this, but you're making me.
Find out more at Wyoming2100.com.
Hey, man, what's up?
Nice weather, that's what. It's finally warm enough to light up the grill.
Hey, I'm on my way. Hey, do you need anything? I'm stopping at Don's Supermarket first.
Keeping it local, I like it. Could you pick up some hot dogs and some buns and maybe some charcoal?
Yeah, no problem. Is there anything else you need?
Yeah, can you also pick up some pork shoulder steaks for $2.09 a pound? And a John Morrell golden smoked whole boneless ham of 4 pounds for $9.99. Oh, and some Talenti gelato for $3. Some Surefine chunk tuna, 79 cents a can. Could you also get some lean cuisines? They're 4 for $10. And we could probably use some bath tissues. There's 16 rolls for $9.49. Could you also get some Bartlett pears, $1.19 a pound. And some jumbo sweet yellow onions, 99 cents a pound. And how about an avocado? They're only 99 cents a piece. They're all on sale until Tuesday.
Really? You want some matches to light that grill too?
No, I have a match. Well, just one. So you might need to pick some of those up too. It's a good thing you're going to Don's because, they have everything. Hello? Hello? Don Supermarket in Gillette, 1501 West 2nd Street.
This is a generic liner. Kind of boring, isn't it? Now back to Glenn Woods.
Hey, real quick, I got to mention the studios where the Bold Republic radio show emanates from is making a move. Not a big move, not like we're going cross country or something like that. More like cross town. And the guy that we always get to pad my cell is Chris, who owns Carpet Express Direct, who's good enough to do this. And it's being done now. So, I don't have to worry. And I'm being very serious here. If we send Chris in and his crew in to get the work done to pad my cell, then I know it's just going to be a good job. And it's not that they're putting carpet on the floor. The floor already has carpet. But what they're doing is padding the walls just so there's not an echo in the room like they do with radio studios, It looks good. It operates well. So anyway, Carpet Express Direct, he does free estimates. They serve all of Northeast Wyoming. Just look them up online, carpetexpressdirect.com. And again, it's just good quality work. They show up on time to get stuff done. So I'm going to go through a few internet memes. I was wondering what to call them for the longest time, and apparently they're called memes. Okay. No, that's a pretty good name for them. It's when someone takes a picture and then they go ahead and wrap something around it that's an interesting point or a good saying. And I like collecting these things and throwing them up. And so for those people who see them on my website from time to time, I post them there. I also post them on the video stream for the show. So there's a picture here for the radio audience and app audience. I'll explain it, don't worry, of a Prius. Is that a Prius? Yeah, a Toyota Prius. It's an electric car. Is that a Prius? That's a Toyota's? Yeah, well, that's okay. The Toyota version, the Toyota cars. It's a Toyota all-electric car. There's a picture of it here being recharged by a Honda portable gasoline generator. Do you guys remember what I told you about those Tesla cars? There was a couple in California that pulled up to a Tesla recharging station. And when they pulled up, there was this big diesel-powered generator. And they fired that sucker up and charged up the vehicles. Oh, well, ain't that just brilliant? Here's the next one for you. And I hadn't thought of this. I'm jealous. I wish I had thought of this. There's a picture of one of the dams in California, and the reservoir behind it is almost completely dry because of the drought that they're having out there. And it reads, thanks to the efforts of California lawmakers, dihydrogen monoxide levels in the state have been reduced by as much as 73%. Now, in case you didn't know, the number one greenhouse gas, no, it's not CO2, no, it's not methane, it's dihydrogen monoxide. It's the number one greenhouse gas. Because of the drought in California, their reservoir has reduced the amount of dihydrogen monoxide in the state by 73%. In fact, when water does flow into the state, you know what they do? They make sure it goes right past the reservoirs and flows right out into the ocean. It can't stop and help anybody get a drink. So thanks to California for helping to fight global warming. Next one here. It looks like a swimming pool, but no. Gotta look on what's on the floor of the swimming pool. And someone wrote to make this a meme. Dihydrogen monoxide is heavy enough to be used as a radiation shield in nuclear reactors. See, that's what's at the bottom of that pool. Yeah, you're looking at a nuclear reactor here. Dihydrogen monoxide is heavy enough to be used as a radiation shield in nuclear reactors. Should it really be used in our food? Yeah. That's a tough one. Do you know dihydrogen monoxide is used in things like bleach? Yeah. You go buy bleach and there's dihydrogen monoxide. Stuff's all over the place. And it is the number one greenhouse gas. I would like to personally thank California for making sure it rids itself of any dihydrogen monoxide that might leak into the state. Way to go, guys. You just keep up the good work. I'm telling you what, boy.
Welcome to Wesley Mouch's Liberal Cafe. We have the only menu with fine print, so please read. You must wait to be seated. You cannot choose your own seat because you do not know where is best for you. Seating is arranged to best obtain the appearance of diversity and tolerance. Before you order, please fill out this form showing that you understand our sexual harassment policies. Notice that all of our staff represents an equal share of gender, race, and sexual preferences. In order to achieve this level of fairness, we have more staff than we need. Please give them something to do. You can look at the menu, but your order will be made for you because you do not know what is best for you. Menu in English upon request. The staff is paid no matter what, and all pay is equal to make it fair. Therefore, they have no incentive to work harder for you, so service sucks, and so does the food. Those who do not show up at the diner are sent bills for what they should have spent, and rather high bills for tips as well. When you tip, remember, quality of service does not matter. Tips are split up evenly between the waitresses to make it fair. Rich people who don't really eat in places like this are charged more and must pay for the meals of those who are less fortunate. They also must cover all tips, including their own and those who have not eaten yet but are assumed to be showing up soon. Since no one really wants to eat here, Wesley Mouch's Liberal Cafe is losing money big time, and so is subsidized by the government. Because most of the money is eaten up by the bureaucracy, very little of it actually gets to the diner. Interestingly, though, more and more money is allocated every year, but less and less seems to make it.
This restaurant is union run. You will be back. We are not asking.
Come visit the Liberal Cafe today. Either way, you're paying for it. It's the Bold Republic Radio Show. My name's Glenn Woods. Thanks for joining me. As always, pretty much everything I talk about, a whole lot more. You'll find it on my website, which is boldrepublic.com. So, okay, let's go for a minute here to an interesting argument. At the beginning of this hour, I was telling you how to defeat certain arguments easily. Okay, this I thought was an interesting argument that somebody had made, and it just floored me that they didn't see the flaw the moment they said it. And who knows? Maybe they did, and they just decided not to say anything, that they had a flaw the moment the words came out of their mouths. But, you know, that's okay. Maybe they didn't notice. All right. I'm more than happy to correct them. There is a headline that I have in front of me. It says, finally, a shooting range with a bar. Huh? Okay. I'll get to that story second. The first one is the story I told you about last week. There is a church, of course it's in the South, that decided to open up a shooting range out back. It's an indoor shooting range, I believe. It's out back of the church. They just decided, hey, I got a great idea. Let's have a shooting range. And they think of it as a great opportunity to get people to come to the church. I mean, why the hell not? They're in the South. People like to shoot. Here's a shooting range. Come to our church and join us at the shooting range. What a great way to get people to visit your church. And it's just a good time. You know, any of you when you were young ever go to a church youth group? Okay. I did for the longest time. It was just a great way for me to get out and have a good time because they were always doing things. We're going to go roller skating. We're going to the movies. We're going to go. They always had some activity going on. So I hung out at the church youth group because there was just something always going on. This is like a youth group for people who love to shoot guns. All right. So the comment that was made, somebody actually said, well, a church doesn't need a shooting range. Okay. Now that's what I was wondering. Did you hear the flaw there, the problem with that? The church doesn't need a shooting range. Who's talking about need here? I mean, pardon me because I'm talking about a church, but what the hell does need have to do with this? This has nothing to do with need. There are people who like to get together and do recreational things. What if the church decided to have like a church golf club, of some kind? What if the church decided to have a church pool so they could have church pool parties? Well, the church doesn't need a pool. Church doesn't need a shooting range. Who's talking need? These people are getting together to do something that's fun. Oh, but because it's guns, you thought it had something to do with need? I got some news for you. And I know this is going to be a shock to some of you out there. Most of you listening to me who like programs like this one right here, you don't need to be told this. But to the few who do, there's a lot of Americans who like to get out there and just have a good time shooting at targets. It takes a lot of concentration and skill and discipline to keep the guns clean and all that kind of stuff. It's a lot of work. It is a discipline. It is a skill. It takes some talent to be a good marksman. Not just anybody's a good marksman. It takes some talent to get that done. So it's not a matter of need. It is considered target shooting is a sport. And if right away you have made the mistake of thinking it's violence because guns are involved, well, you're the idiot in the room. This has nothing to do with violence. It's people who it has nothing to do with people trying to compensate for anything. Has nothing to do with that. Target shooting is hard. And people like the challenge of it. And that's why the church decided, hey, let's get together. Let's do some target shooting here. That'll be fun. It's a sport. And that's the thing. It's a sport. If you made the mistake of thinking it has to do with violence because guns are involved, you are the fool in the room because you don't get it. And I'll just leave you there to wonder why I'm calling you a fool, because I bet you still don't get it. All right. Finally, a shooting range with a bar. CNN affiliate WFTV reported Daytona Beach commissioners have signed off on Ron Perkinson's proposed facility, which Perkins hopes to open late November. Facility located near Daytona International Speedway, just off Interstate 95. In an interview in June, when he announced his plan, Perkinson, who owns a gun shop, it's Volusia Top Gun. Volusia is the name of the county there. Top Gun at nearby South Daytona. That he's been aware about concerns of mixing alcohol and guns, but instead he's decided to mix guns and alcohol. So he said that nothing could be more important. Law enforcement officials will be invited to the shooting range. Everything is going to be supervised as well. But in other words, it's not where you go and get drunk and go woo-hoo and start shooting like in the old Western days. How would you like just to go down to a shooting range, and while you were there poking at the target, you'd like to have a couple of beers? There. See, they're not going to get rip-roaring drunk. That's not the purpose of this thing. Interesting. So you can't open... No, I think that's fascinating. You can't open a bar or with a gun range, but you can open up a gun range with a bar. That's just fascinating to me. Final hour of the program just ahead. Hey, don't move.
I honestly really never considered that it would happen to me.
You're targeting payday lenders and ammunition manufacturers. You're going after little guys all over America.
Government regulators are essentially telling banks that they need to be morality police.
Our businesses were started with our own retirement and college fund dollars that we had saved for our family.
Allison, who asked that we only use her first name in this story, started this payday lending and check cashing business with her husband in 2010. It's located in Orange County, California.
A lot of my customers take payday loans because they have difficulty making a paycheck to paycheck, and it helps to pay their phone bill or pay their rent.
Allison runs a tight ship, and she successfully navigated the complex permitting procedures and regulations that govern this controversial industry.
We had never had any compliance issues. We had never had any slap of the hands or we did something wrong. We were always in full compliance.
And then one day, she got a letter in the mail from the bank that changed her life.
They were going to shut my bank accounts down due to their high-risk nature in 30 days. I cannot do business. If I don't have a bank account, I can't do money transferring, money orders. I can't deposit a check. For any business, how do you do business without a business checking account?
So Allison tried to open an account in another bank, but her application was denied. So she tried again, and the same thing happened. So she closed her first store, and her second location is scheduled to go out of business in a matter of weeks. Why was she being cut off from the financial system? The banks wouldn't give her any answers and wouldn't respond to any of our questions either.
I had heard about Operation Chokepoint through a couple of contacts I have in this industry. I honestly really never considered that it would happen to me.
Operation Chokepoint is a government program that sought to intimidate banks into closing the accounts of a number of what they consider to be high-risk industries.
Operation Chokepoint was a program created by the Obama administration's Financial Fraud Enforcement Task Force. The government says it's over now, but business owners across the country claim that's not true.
It's a task force that most Americans probably have never heard of, but it has more control over the choices and decisions that Americans make than almost any other agency in the government.
Brian Wise is the president of the U.S. Consumer Coalition, a consumer advocacy group. Chokepoint was supposed to be focused on mass market consumer fraud when the program started in 2013, but it quickly morphed into something much bigger, a way for federal regulators to strong-arm banks into punishing any type of business that didn't meet their approval by putting them on their list of high-risk merchants.
Government regulators are essentially telling banks that they need to be morality police, that these banks have to make moral decisions on who they can and cannot do business with, and they have to make moral decisions on what consumers should have access to.
And what kind of businesses were on this list? The usual suspects were there: debt consolidation scams and online gambling, but also completely legitimate and legal businesses like firearms sales, coin dealers, tobacco sales, and more.
In the same way that we say that racial profiling is bad, you're saying that without any due process, these industries and the merchants within these industries are guilty of some kind of wrongdoing simply because they offer a legal product to America's consumers.
I got started in the hookah business when I was 18.
Brennan Appel is the owner of Global Hookah, a tobacco accessories seller. Like Allison, he also received an unwelcome letter from his bank informing him that his account would be shut down in 30 days.
I was in shock. I didn't understand. I thought it was a mistake because I had been with Bank of America since 2002.
Banks can terminate a customer's account at any time, and they have no legal obligation to provide a reason. So it can be difficult sometimes to connect the dots back to a federal policy like Operation Chokepoint. But Appel got confirmation after recording a phone call with a payment processor who shut down a large transaction he was trying to complete with a customer.
The nature of what we do in payment processing, at least with our processing bank, has become so more regimented and strict and focused on compliance and certain efforts in Washington. And have you heard of a little thing, called Chokepoint, in the CFPB?
Pretty much flat out told me Operation Chokepoint is the reason why my ACH account was closed, even though we had processing since 2005 and we had a clean record and had done good about a business.
Once enough businesses from many different industries began complaining about being totally cut off from the financial system, the Congressional Committee on Oversight and Reform questioned the DOJ and FDIC about their conduct during a hearing.
What gives you the right, or anybody that works for you, the right to tell businesses where the owners have sacrificed their saving, their hard works, grown their businesses, hired their family members and others? What gives you the right to try to shut them down, sir?
No matter what you've heard, if you like your doctor or healthcare plan, you can keep it. If you don't have insurance, you'll finally be able to afford insurance. And everyone will have the security and stability that's missing today.
Health and Human Services Secretary Kathleen Sebelius did acknowledge some people will see their health care costs go up.
I just see a huge train wreck coming down. You and I have discussed this many times, and I don't see any results.
I happen to be a proponent of a single-payer universal health care plan.
Never said that we should try to go ahead and get single payer.
The president has directed us to take action to fight these cartels, and Attorney General Holder and I are taking several new and aggressive steps as part of the administration's comprehensive plan.
I'm not sure the exact date, but I probably heard about Fast and Furious for the first time over the last few weeks.
I heard on the news about this story that Fast and Furious.
These protests, reaction to a video that many Muslims find offensive.
This video is disgusting and reprehensible.
I don't care how offensive this video was, and it was terribly offensive. And we should shun it.
What happened this week in Cairo, in Benghazi, and many other parts of the region was a direct result of a heinous and offensive video.
I asked her why the ambassador had said there was a demonstration when the embassy had reported only an attack.
The fact is, we had 4 dead Americans. Was it because of a protest, or was it because of guys out for a walk one night who decided they'd go kill some Americans? What difference at this point does it make?
Irreverent, but honest and tastefully tacky somehow. Here comes another hour of insensitivity training with Glenn Woods.
Well, you keep hearing the complaints. Oh, college is so expensive. It's outrageously expensive. And so what we have to do is provide free college because it's so expensive. Final hour of the program, Bold Republic Radio Show. My name is Glenn Woods. Thanks for joining me. Phone number if you want to get involved. Yes, it is open phones the entire time. 307-363-4093. That's 307-363-4093. As always, pretty much everything I'm talking about. A whole lot more. My website, boldrepublic.com. So, okay. This is just outrageous and stupid as far as I'm concerned. Let's say you wanted your kid to go to Brown University. The average cost for sending your kid to Brown University is over $65,000. Now that's the average cost to send your kid to a university like that, is over $65,000. That's a lot of money. College is so out of reach. College is so unaffordable. Well, that's just not. And by the way, how come we never hear? Because when a business charges a lot of money or makes a lot of money, we hear about how greedy the business is. Big Oil is greedy. Walmart is greedy. Okay, well, to send the kids to college, Brown University is going to cost you $65,000 a year. And by the way, yes, a lot of people at these universities are earning six-figure incomes. How come we don't hear about these greedy colleges, these greedy universities? You got an excuse for that? Well, this goes back to what I was telling you in the second hour of the program. A lot of times the best way to defeat an argument, for those who missed the second hour, I'm going to give you the Planned Parenthood one again real quick because I'm proud of it. And I'm going to relate it to this, okay? So the Planned Parenthood argument. Do you know that fast food restaurants have been under fire by people on the left in California, in Colorado, because most fast food restaurants are located in black neighborhoods. Kentucky Fried Chicken. Most of the Kentucky Fried Chicken restaurants are located in black neighborhoods across America. Therefore, Kentucky Fried Chicken must be racist. And so there's cities around America, Denver is one of them, trying to pass ordinances to either run Kentucky Fried Chicken off, which they did in Denver, or just make sure that they have to spread out and diversify across the entire town. They can't locate most of their restaurant chains in one neighborhood because that's racist. Okay, let's do the formula. So if most Kentucky Fried Chicken restaurants are located in black neighborhoods, therefore Kentucky Fried Chicken is racist. Gotcha. Okay. Hey, guess what? True statistics, an actual real number. 70% of Planned Parenthood clinics are located in black neighborhoods. Well, Planned Parenthood is racist then, by your own standard. Okay, so if big oil makes so much money, the cost of gasoline goes up to $3. You don't look at government, even though that's the leading cause of your high prices. Everybody immediately wants to blame those greedy oil companies. I see. Hey, do you know that to go to Brown University, to send your kid to Brown University, it's going to cost about $65,000 a year or more on average? That's not even the top high-end price. That most of the professors and other such office staff and diversity counselors and so on make six-figure incomes like $200-some thousand a year. So, gee, I guess by your own standard, these liberal universities with a lot of college professors who are anti-capitalist, I guess by your own standard, this is just greed, isn't it? And there's kids out there that need an education, that want to get to up their education so they can have an advantage when they get out there in the real world. And their parents can't afford it, or so they borrow a bunch of money. They'll spend most of their life trying to pay back that money. That's a lot of money. You run up several $100,000, like $100-some thousand in college, in tuition and so on. And you spend a good part of your life just trying to pay that sucker back. And by the way, your college loan, oh, you can't miss a payment. They'll take it. Oh, they'll just come and take it. Oh, you're not missing a college loan payment. But these universities are not bloated or greedy, are they? No. It's just big oil, that is. It's just Walmart, that is, right? Let's take a look at something here. This is from the Daily Caller, and they have a list here of some of the dumbest courses in universities. And by the way, this is some of the stuff you're paying for. Don't forget, they're also doing things like diversity counselors. You know about that, right? There's they have to have a diversity office and staff, and there's all sorts of useless people at their universities. Yes, they do make six-figured incomes, but they don't teach anything. But we have to have these people. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the courses that are out there. Let's see. Brown University, a class on being bored. The course explores text films that represent and formally express state of non-productivity or non-desire, beginning with the Enlightenment of the Romantic periods. They'll reflect on the narratives, neither progress nor pilot characters that resist characterization. I'm getting bored reading this. University of Pennsylvania has a class on wasting time on the internet. Oh my God. I know exactly why. I know why they have that class. Why would you have a class on wasting time on the internet? Because when you get a job in the real world, if you have an office job, what are you mostly going to do? Waste time on the internet. Well, you better know how to do it. Well, okay, so to me, that class makes complete sense, especially if you're getting a job with the federal government, like EPA, IRS, to name two, where they have found employees at the EPA and the IRS sitting around surfing porn all day. Well, now we know why. They went to the University of Pennsylvania and took the class called Wasting Time on the Internet. Quote from the syllabus here of the class: "We spent our lives in front of screens, mostly wasting time, checking out social media, watching videos, chatting, shopping. What if these activities, status updating, and so on, could we write a great novella plundering our Twitter feed? Could we reframe?" Again, I'm getting bored reading this thing. I don't see the purpose of this, but okay, on we go. Oberlin College. Oberlin College, by the way, is one of those colleges that if somebody comes, let's say I were a speaker at Oberlin College, I would hope that some of those people would have to go to the panic room, literally, and sit with soft pillows and kittens. I'm not kidding. They have a room like that. Oberlin College, how to win a beauty pageant, race, gender, culture, and U.S. national identity. Oh, my God. Cornell. Oh, by the way, most of these universities that I've read so far here, it's about $65,000 to $66,000 average to attend. Cornell University, physical education includes tree climbing. Okay. Occidental College, critical theory and social justice. Stop right there before I move on. The moment one of the best pieces of advice I ever heard on how to pick what you're going to do at college. What kind of courses do you take? Take a look, open up a newspaper, go through the want ads. What's in there? Get online. Go take a look at the industries that are out there. What are they looking for? Engineers, accountants, what are they looking for? Okay. Take college courses that will get you one of those. They're in the want ads. They're looking for people. You can, in many cases, see how much they're going to pay. So go take one of those courses. When you show up at the university and you see critical theory and social justice, what are you going to do with that? Who out there besides another university hires somebody who has a degree in critical theory and social justice? Yes, it still costs $60,000 a year to go there. Pitcher College. Asian American Studies. Oh, that may sound great. Oh, hey, Asian American Studies. We're doing a lot of work with China, right? Yeah, it includes things like tattoo, piercing, and body adornment. That's what you'll be studying. Rutgers University, New Brunswick. Women's and Gender Studies. Women's Culture and Society, Pop Culture and Politics, and it goes on. Okay, so again, you graduate and you do what with that? I'd like to know. Georgia State University, Kane versus everybody, Kane West. University of Iowa, the American Vacation. Vacations are more serious than you might think. 100 years ago, if you went on vacation, that was beyond your grasp. But now, don't take it for granted. Explore Coney Island, Atlantic City. You know what I haven't found yet? Underwater basket weaving. Where is underwater basket weaving in this thing? You would think there was a time that was a necessity. Skidmore College, Sociology, the Sociology of Miley Cyrus, Race, Gender, and Media. That's a course. What do you do? Sit around watching TV all day? Tufts University, Experimental College, Diversifying the Hipster. No clue. Do you care? Or do I? Here's another one. University of California, San Francisco, online course. Abortion, quality care, and public health implications. Okay. Well, I just, other than getting a job at something like Planned Parenthood, I have no idea what you're going to be doing with that. But okay, there you go. And you sit there and wonder, so why is it that college is so expensive and you have to spend most of the rest of your life trying to pay it back? And there you go.
Glenn Woods, BoldRepublic.com.
There are veterans across America having trouble finding work due to mental and physical injuries they received while serving their country. HCCI Transportation is a startup company designed and dedicated to help these hard-working veterans earn the paycheck they need to support themselves and their families. HCCI Transportation Company will be launching very soon, hiring only veterans. HCCI Transportation will be a company set up simply to give back to our nation's heroes and quality of life they need and deserve. Once the company is on the road, we can start providing our veterans with the income, work environment, and quality of life they need and deserve. Veterans are the only people who sacrifice in defense of our great nation, and we owe them much more for our freedom. What they need most is steady, good employment, and you can contribute. Find out how you can help this company launch by calling Shane Annerman, 760-608-7313. That number is 760-608-7313.
Shave Secret is the best shave ever. Shave Secret is a blend of natural oils that replace shave creams, gels, and powders for men and women of all ethnic backgrounds. Shave Secret is a natural product, nothing artificial. Shave Secret helps prevent nicks, cuts, shave bumps, ingrown hairs, rashes, and more. Shave Secret is clear, non-foaming, so you can see clearly what you're shaving. Shave Secret is economical to use. Takes 3 to 5 drops for the average shave. Shave Secret cleans, conditions, moisturizes the skin all in one application. Shave Secret is compact and great for travel. Ladies, Shave Secret is wonderful for shaving your legs, underarms, and bikini lines. Guys, got a bald head? Shave it. Buy Shave Secret today at Walmart Supercenters and Amazon.com. Online at shavesecret.com. That's Walmart Supercenters, Amazon.com. Online at shavesecret.com. Great deals online at shavesecret.com. Shave Secret, the best shave ever. In today's world, it's almost impossible to keep up with all your messages, especially if you own or manage a business. And let's face it, voicemails aren't personal. If you believe customer service is a priority, call Star Communications. With Star Communications, you have a real person who actually lives and works in America answering your phone 24/7 or anytime that you would like to schedule. Star Communications will take messages, forward your calls, monitor your alarm system, handle your radio dispatches, driver check-ins, and man-down services, no matter what sort of business you own. Reliable, affordable, Star Communications. In fact, we use them here at American Standard Media and the Bold Republic Radio Show. So call them now to set up your business with reliable service and communications. Star Communications. 307-682-5106. That's 307-682-5106. Star Communications.
Your dog been run over by a train? Grandma locked away in prison? Swede Specialties has all the supplies you need to make that beer to put your beer tears in. Swede Specialties has something for everyone with a broad selection of home brew and winemaking supplies. Give Swede a call, 686-0588, or go to swedespecialties.com. And go ahead and crank up your radio and cry in your own beer.
Everyone who is important listens to this show. Yes, everyone. Everyone at the IRS, the NSA, the FBI, and even those Chinese spies. So when you call Glenn, make it count. They are listening. Let's get back to the show. Here's Glenn Woods.
So one more thing about colleges, universities out there. As long as I'm picking on these suckers, might as well finish your job here. Might as well finish them off. Why not? Scholars are teaching sustainability on college campus. By the way, the town that I'm in here in Wyoming, believe it or not, in Wyoming of all places, check to see if your town does, whatever the size of your town is. Did they hire a sustainability coordinator? Did they? It's completely useless. Well, no, you can just get rid of your sustainability coordinator. It's no point to it. It's political correctness. It's Agenda 21 stuff. It's just nonsense. It's a waste of money to have a sustainability coordinator. Yeah, and let's look at it this way. Before the sustainability coordinator came along, how was your town doing? And you know something? I would bet just fine. I did it once before. I got to do it again. In our town, and the town I'm in is about 30,000 people. I'm going to look up his job and see what he's doing. What exactly is the sustainability coordinator doing with his job? Does he have a staff? How much are we paying this guy? Okay, it's just a job they can just close, save the tax money. So where do you get a degree in something like that. Well, last March, National Association of Scholars issued a groundbreaking report causing a splash on campi around the country within the progressive movement. Sustainability, higher education, new fundamentalism, basically is the course. It's a comprehensive expose, if you will, a grab bag of progressive ideological causes that just bleed into the college courses. Rachel Peterson, one of the study's authors, says he was surprised to find how well sustainability was entrenched in college curriculum. He says it's not just sustainability courses, but in English and history classes. The report's author, Peter Wood, no relation. Well, my last name has an S on it. And president of NAS at Peterson says most people mistakenly believe sustainability is about like global warming and, environmentalism and stuff like that. But the report and its exclusive 39-minute video expose on how progressive activists are swallowing up hosts of issues, including same-sex marriage, raising the minimum wage, Black Lives Matter, ending capitalism, as with sustainability. It's all under one umbrella. Okay, so what they're doing is it's another way of teaching leftist ideology. And of course, it's all anti-capitalism, anti-property rights. Now, in most cases, you're a sustainability coordinator in your town. If you said this directly to his face, he would deny it. In his own mind, he would deny it. If you said, well, you're anti-freedom, you're anti-property rights. Well, no, I'm not. I'm pro-freedom. I'm pro-property right. No, you're not. Because the rules that you make take away my ability to do what I want to do with my own property. So you're anti-freedom, anti-property rights. You're not doing, and you're anti-capitalism too. You're not making sure, as a sustainability coordinator, that the people of your town have the right to do what they want to do with their own property. You're making sure that that right is regulated away. So there's a difference here between someone who's trying to protect individuality, individualism. And by the way, you're anti-capitalist as well, because none of your ideas are free market ideas. As a sustainability coordinator, they never work with free market ideas. And I mean, absolutely never. And this is a course that you can take on college campi around the country. There are courses on sustainability that basically are courses on, well, it's a course on communism. It's a course on socialism. It's a course on communism. This is the course that they're teaching. There's big money in it too. This is part of the reason that a lot of college kids are getting into this. There's big money because in most cases, towns and cities across America are willing to pay heap big salary for a sustainability coordinator. So basically, these cities and towns, and many of them consider themselves to be conservatives, but they're not, are paying a lot of money to be advised into how to take away people's property rights and how to hamper the free market and get better control of businesses and get more tax money out of people and et cetera, et cetera. All under the guise of, well, if we're going to survive as a species, we have to we have to force people to work together so we can live under a sustainable future. This is what they're saying. You know what the most sustainable future has been proven to be? Capitalism. That's more sustainable. Well, hang on. If you don't believe me, I'll prove it next.
I had a lot of friends who were surprised when I said I was going to work for a coal company because I am such an environmentalist. A lot of people have a very outdated image of what coal mining is. The coal miners that I work with take a lot of pride in restoring that land to what it was before we mined it. Everybody here's a person wanting to do the right thing. We all have kids, we all have families, we don't want to leave a mess. We can utilize coal and keep a good supply of electricity that's stable and low cost.
We are an oil and gas publication that focuses on the Marcellus Shale in northern Pennsylvania. Well, it started with my exposure to the oil and gas industry through the family heavy equipment business, which I had some background with print and layout. Kind of made sense, something that a guy could keep in the truck and pick up and use as a resource to find local businesses that cater to his needs. Mansfield, it's a small community, sort of a tourist town. A lot of that has changed with, of course, the introduction of Marcellus Shale. The oil and gas industry has definitely created a lot of jobs here. There's a lot of potential for a lot of different people to find employment in many different types of industries, not just drilling.
I'm the manager here at Mansfield Farm and Garden, known as Hampson's. We didn't carry any of these supplies. Our biggest was ice fishing supplies. We have recently got into the gas exploration business, carrying FR clothing, steel-toed boots, safety wear, pretty much anything to keep you warm and dry for gas exploration. And now most of our business is this every day. Financially, it's tenfold what we ever expected. It's been an amazing adventure.
Our business is industrial supplies. We sell tools, nuts, bolts, and such to corporations as far as factories. With the gas industry coming into the area, our sales have tripled. I've been able to hire 3 or 4 new salespeople. It's really been a big boom for the area.
The shops are full. All these different stores here, a lot of them used to be vacant. Now there's thriving businesses in all these stores.
We're getting new hotels, new restaurants.
We don't need a tax on the industry or a fee because the industry is creating enough revenue here that it shouldn't be needed. You know, this situation here has done more for the common man and the everyday Joe than anybody else could have imagined. The average person can pay their debts. There's opportunities for working class people, entrepreneurs, etc.
It's been a wonderful, wonderful thing, except for the traffic.
So many businesses are coming here to start with that this can only get better.
To everyone. Subject, an email about email. It seems like everything these days generates email. Every treaty, every trade negotiation, every real estate transaction, and pretty much every lobbyist you talk to makes more and more email. And juggling all those emails can be tough. It's a chore to carry around multiple devices. For most people, it's one device for work, one device for home, and one device for liaising with billionaire Arabs. That's why we made Hillary Mail, the all-in-one email solution for work, for yoga class, or for highly classified information. Your messages are stored far away on a server in the garage of a luxury home in rural New York, protected by a 10-foot fence and a state-of-the-art Secret Service agent named Phil, making sure your email is far from the reach of freedom of information laws, congressional oversight, and journalists. And for extra peace of mind, you have the ability to disappear anything you don't want anyone else to read, regardless of your ethical obligation. Opt for convenience. Opt for Hillary Mail. Hillary Mail is not protected from hacking.
Need to let off a little steam? Yep, that's why we installed phone lines into the studio. Call Glenn now. Bold Republic is on the air. Here's Glenn Woods.
last half hour, Bold Republic Radio Show. My name is Glenn Woods. Thanks for joining me. I wanted to prove something to you about capitalism because you're being lied to. Okay, so you're being told that capitalism is the cause of pollution and global warming. Capitalism is the cause of slavery. All the evils of capitalism. All right, let me destroy the slavery thing for you because I see this a lot now from the left. Well, you know, slavery, capitalism, slavery, the slave trade, buying and selling slaves. I'm going to argue that is not capitalism. Oh, here's why. In capitalism, everybody who is involved is there in a voluntary exchange. So that's what capitalism. Now, if you're thinking, well, something was bought and sold, well, that doesn't necessarily make it capitalism. Kind of like when people talk about crony capitalism. No, that's just cronyism. Okay, when government takes a bunch of money by force and hands that money to some crony in government because that guy's politically connected, that is not capitalism. That is cronyism. Okay, not everybody was in the transaction voluntarily. The taxpayers didn't have a choice. The money was taken from them by force of government and given to some crony. So in slavery, not everybody's there voluntarily. The slave is not there voluntarily. Yes, there was an exchange of money. And yes, somebody got something for that money, got a slave. But in capitalism, everybody's there voluntarily. And I'm talking, so just to be clear about it, I'm talking capitalism in the purest sense of the word, okay? Because we can argue a lot of gray areas and so on. I'm talking capitalism in the purest sense of the word. Everybody who's there is there voluntarily. All right, now, let's take a look at great things that capitalism has done. Because apparently, capitalism caused the destruction of the climate. Well, there was a time because we didn't know any better. Let's just take North America, that we were going across North America and just ripping up the landscape and killing off whole species of animals. And we didn't know any better. But then at one point we realized, hey, you know something? These resources are finite. And if we pollute the rivers and rip apart the landscape, we have to live here. We have to breathe the air. We need this land to grow food. The air needs to be clean. And so we cleaned up our act long before the EPA ever existed. We started cleaning up. And capitalism found the most interesting and innovative ways to do that. So for those people who want to go to a form of socialism to clean up the environment because capitalism pollutes so much, okay, the United States of America, do we have pollution? Sure we do, sure, okay, everybody does. I want you to compare the pollution in North America to the pollution in China. The pollution in North America to the pollution of the old Soviet Union. The pollution of South Korea to the pollution of North Korea. North Korea is basically just a toxic dump. So capitalism cleans it up. Socialism makes a mess out of it. If you want to see poverty, starvation, and a flat out just destroyed ecology, rivers, streams, air, whatever, go to socialist countries and take a look at just how they've devastated the land, how they've devastated human rights, how people, again, are poor and starving. Now go to your capitalist countries and people are rich by world standards. People are comfortable living. I'm sitting here now inside of a nice air-conditioned building. Even, I can go for a walk just a few blocks from here to some very poor neighborhoods, and there's air conditioning in the window, and there's a satellite dish out there for TV, and they've got a car in the driveway, and we call that poor. That's capitalism for you. So we clean up the environment because we like living in a clean environment. People live comfortable and rich. That's capitalism for you. Socialism, on the other hand, I mean, it just flat out destroys all of that. I would love for someone to explain to me where socialism has cleaned up the environment, because all the environmentalists out there, they're not capitalists. Show me a capitalist environmentalist. No, I'm not talking about someone who just cares about the environment. I mean, I'm talking about like someone who's a member of Greenpeace or one of those groups. That's what I'm talking about. Show me somebody who's cleaned up the environment, who's a member of the socialist movement out there. I'll tell you someone who talks big, but in reality, no, their philosophy sucks. Ah, summertime. You know, the great outdoors. You know what half the fun is with getting away from it all? Shopping. I mean, we're talking guns, bows, arrows, knives, camping equipment, from tents to sleeping bags, clothing, bug spray, fishing line, lures, tackle bait, cooking equipment, MREs, even all the latest electronic gadgets, and they've got it all at Rocky Mountain Discount Sports with locations throughout Wyoming. So no matter what you need, before you head out into the great outdoors, do some shopping. That's half the fun, isn't it? Rocky Mountain Discount Sports, conveniently located in Gillette, Wyoming, on South Douglas Highway and 1351 CY Drive in Casper.
Remember when we were young and we'd have show and tell days in grade school? Do really well and you got a great grade. I'm Bruce Marshall. We don't do show and tell anymore. But if you're lucky, you have a very special moment called Show and Ask. Yes, you found her and you have questions to ask her. But just before you do, you have a sparkling diamond to show. Come to Marshall Jewelry for the perfect showpiece. We'll help you make sure that when you ask, the result is A+. Marshall Jewelry, where she'll love it, guaranteed.
Admiral Nelson was on the hunt for a wild turkey when suddenly Jack Daniels jumped out, took a shot of Bacardi, which made him fall on the black velvet floor. Jose Singe was not impressed, so he grabbed the Smirnoff vodka from McGuire's, loaded up a Seagram 7, and set sail with Captain Morgan.
How'd you come up with that story?
Well, so I was looking for some inspiration, so I went to Jack's and took my best shot. And then I took another.
This month at Jack's, fifths of Admiral Nelson, Jose Singe, Smirnoff vodka, Bacardi, Wild Turkey, Jack Daniels, McGuire's, and Black Velvet. Half gallons of Captain Morgan and Seagram's. Jack's Liquor, your adult daycare center, 302 East 2nd Street, across from Napa Auto Parts in Gillette.
And then I took another.
So, you sell widgets?
Yes.
What's a widget?
A widget goes on a what's it.
I see, I guess, but I've never heard of a what's it.
Oh, it's a very specialized industry.
How's business?
It's hard to connect widget makers with what's it operators. I wish there was a way to make what's it aware of where we are at.
You know, I think they just heard you.
Hello, Glenwood Show listeners. I'm Nick DeLotte in the Bold Republic Radio Show. Currently, the Bold Republic Show is heard in North and South Dakota, Nebraska, Montana, and Wyoming. Our phone, tablet app, plus our internet presence reaches far beyond that, pretty much throughout the entire English-speaking world. So contact me now. We can connect your widgets to the What's It so you can do whatever. Call me at 307-670-2733 or find my email address on the front page of boldrepublic.com.
Come on, don't act like you don't know how this works. Glenn sits in a padded room, talks to himself, and guess what? You're the voices in his head. It's really creepy, but it works. Let's get back in there. Glenn Woods is back on the air.
So I'm going to make some conservative heads explode out there. I'm sorry. It's just one of these stories that you guys got to hear, so I'm going to go toss it your way. According to the headline that's in front of me here from Breitbart News, the judge has said that illegal immigrants must be released starting October 24th. Really? This happened on Friday, by the way. On Friday, a federal judge in Central California ruled that 1,800 illegal immigrants being held in a detention center in Carson City, Texas, must be released starting October 24th. The U.S. District Judge Dolly Gee's 15-page ruling need 15 pages to describe that. Okay, well, single space, what? Stated that the government will have up to 20 days after October 24th to finish releasing the illegal immigrants who are waiting for their asylum hearings. He rebuffed the Department of Justice's request to reverse her July 24th ruling, in which he argued that the government detention policy violated an 18-year-old court settlement revolving around the detention of migrant children. He was doubling down on her confidential draft ruling, and it gets in some of the details of it. Okay, so that'll make your head explode. But hold on, because I wanted to get into Donald Trump's face on this. Well, no, the reason I'm in Donald Trump's face is because Donald Trump keeps talking about putting up a border fence. In fact, I have for those people watching on the video stream here, I saw this meme. Israel built a rather big wall with guard towers, and someone wrote on this, "This is an example of a border wall well done correctly in Israel." And then there's something at the bottom that mentions, or they wrote at the bottom on Facebook, that Trump has it right. Well, okay. I simply responded. I didn't say anything to the story. I just simply responded by saying, hey, I sent him a link. The story I told you guys about last week. Here is a tunnel that didn't just go underground. There's a super tunnel is what they're calling it. What the tunnel did is, and it went under the border, they would have to dive down into a river, I believe. I'm not sure I'm not sure which river, probably the one we're all thinking about. But anyway, they dive down into a river. And as they get to the bottom of it, there's a hole. So they go through the hole and they go down a ways. But then they come up into an air pocket and there's a tunnel. And it's a rather big tunnel. You can pretty much stand up in it and walk, and it has rails so you can pull a cart on the rails. When you get to the other side, you got to put on scuba gear again. And you go back down into the water and come back up on some other body of water on the other side. So the water on either side covers up and hides the whole of the tunnel. Nobody would think that there's a hole into a tunnel under a river, at the bottom of a river. No one would think that there was a hole into a tunnel at the bottom of a lake. The theory went, which is why they built it there. And so for those people who are listening to Donald Trump and you're saying, hey, let's just build a big wall. And Trump keeps talking about the wall. You can go over a wall. You can go under a wall. You can go around a wall. You can go through a wall. So all I'm saying to you is, as an idea, that's not going to work. It's just it's just not going to work. Okay. That's why the idea that I had, and I know that in the last presidential election, where there was the whole idea of self-deportation apparently lost some votes, but okay, I'm for self-deportation. Here's what I mean. Why are people coming to America? And I would love to talk to Donald Trump about this. Why are people coming to America from these other countries? Because where they live sucks that much. And if they come here, there's free stuff. Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, food stamps, welfare checks. They can get into free housing or subsidized housing. They get all this free stuff. That's why they come to America. It doesn't suck as much as the violent country that they lived in. But also there's all of this free stuff. Step one, we don't build a fence. Step one, cut off the free stuff. Step two, go after business owners who knowingly hire illegals. There. See? What does that do? It takes away the incentive for coming to America illegally. That's what it does. Now, that would work a lot more effectively, not 100%, but a lot more effectively than trying to build a fence.
Sir, I was just in the bathroom, and...
Jenkins, I've decided to take this workplace paperless.
Paperless, sir?
Yes, I think we're behind the times on this.
Well, yes, sir, but...
We're going green. I got to save the planet, you know.
Yes, sir.
And besides, with today's technology, using paper just slows everything down.
Yes, sir,
so
but...
why spend money on ink and paper, expensive copy machines, and when everything can be done with the click of a mouse?
Yes, sir, but I...
What, Jenkins?
Sir, there's no toilet paper in the bathroom.
Right. Well, don't worry. There's an app for that.
An app, sir?
Oh, come on now, Jenkins. Get with the times. An app for your phone. See? Just touch the toilet paper app on my phone and...
On your phone, sir?
Well, you certainly can't use your iPad. I mean, that's a little big, don't you think? Especially, well, not so big for Mural down in accounting. Have you seen her big keister? I bet you
No, sir, I try not to look at her.
I can't use your laptop with the flip screen. That's just too big and awkward. And forget the desktop tower. Can't go dragging that down the hall now, can you?
No, sir, no, sir.
So the iPhone it has to be.
Sir, I'm not so sure
well,
want to
of course, for a little bud like yours, Jenkins, better get a Razor phone.
Right. Well, sir, if you'll excuse me, I need to go back to the bathroom and finish what I started.
So you do that. Oh, and Jenkins.
Yes, sir?
While you're heading that way, find out who's been picking leaves off of the plant down there. There's only 2 left.
2 left? That should just about do it.
Do what, Jenkins?
Not important, sir. I'll get right on it.
This public service announcement is just a reminder that going green has consequences.
All right, I think I got this. He makes it his business to know the government's business and how they're all up in your business so you can go about your business. Where was I going with this? Kind of lost track. Anywho, Glenn is back on the air now. Yep, there he is.
It's the Bold Public Radio Show. My name is Glenn Woods. Thanks for joining me. As always, pretty much everything I talk about and a whole lot more. My website is boldrepublic.com. 307-363-4093 is the phone number. Fun the video stream. Let's see. Chris from the app said, first sentence, why do people only support organic food because it's healthy and good for the planet, despite organic fuel because it will poison and kill the planet? Interesting. And you know what's interesting about that, Chris, is when you take a look at organic food. Now, full disclosure here, just real quick. When I was a kid, my mother opened up one of the first all-organic health food stores in Florida. And she was reading a lot of Yule Given books. She got into the whole healthy organic thing, which meant the whole family had to. And so we had a health food store and, okay. And so I grew up thinking, hey, look, the best thing to do is just to eat all natural, organic, no pesticides, herbicides, stuff like that. But I'm an evidence-based guy. And I find out that if you actually want to harm the planet, go organic. And here's what I mean by that. To grow the amount of food that we are currently growing organically, you're going to need a lot of land. A lot of land. A lot. And the fact of the matter is we'll never be able to keep up with the size of our population. So most of the world population of humans anyway. Well, and a lot of our pets, too, a lot of our animals, will starve to death. But because of today's modern farming techniques, which, by the way, is not unhealthy. Yes, they spray herbicides and pesticides. but it's in such a trace amount. Do you know when you drink a glass of water, there's arsenic in the water? There is arsenic in the water you're drinking. But it's in such a trace amount, it's not what's in there. It's a matter of dosage. It's in such a trace amount, it doesn't matter. Rinse it off, it's fine. Buy a tomato. I got news for you. And a lot of people don't believe me when I say this, but it's true. An organically grown tomato and a non-organically grown tomato have just the same exact amounts of vitamins and so on in there. One is not healthier than the other. Same goes for your chicken and your beef and whatever else. It doesn't matter. So just take your tomato and rinse it off and eat it, and it's perfectly healthy for you. So we can grow far more food than ever before, and we are, on far less land than ever before. Remember, I've told you guys, the New England states used to be 75% deforested to make room for the farms. Now the farms in the New England states produce more food than ever before, but New England is 75% farmland. Woodland. The trees have grown back. And that's because of diesel tractors, herbicides, and pesticides, which are petroleum-based. All right, Chris goes on to say, capitalism encourages people to take waste and turn it into something clean and profitable. Gasoline used to be waste and dumped in a river. Now it's an economy unto itself. Absolutely. You're right, Chris. We tend to take things that are, something, and this, speaking as a capitalist, I took a look at throwing away things like tin cans when I was a kid and thought, can't we just melt this down and make another tin can? And so a lot of recycling comes about. I mean, you would think, and this is how they want you to think of capitalism. Well, you're a capitalist, so you just take your garbage and throw it on the ground because you don't care because you're a capitalist. That's what they want you to think. Fact of the matter is, all sorts of recycling and so on came about not because of some government mandate, but because somebody looked at this and said, why are we throwing that away? Can't we take that and make something out of it? Here's a great idea. This is a capitalist idea. When we make a landfill for our garbage, we cover it over and we make things like a park out of it, something like that. And the way we do it becomes incredibly fertile land. So something good comes out of our garbage dumps. But wait, something else. Because there's all of this rotting junk underneath your feet on a former landfill, which you now play golf on, methane comes up. Well, it's just stuff is breaking down, so methane is coming up. So what they've done, and this is capitalism, is come up with a way to capture that stuff and use it. Hey, you want to talk about sustainable, renewable energy? Capitalism figured out that, you know something? A landfill creates methane. And if we capture the methane, we can use it. So our garbage becomes not only fertile land, but we're capturing the gas that's being created underneath that land and using it. See, capitalism used to be about waste in the sense that we didn't know any better and we just wasted stuff, but not anymore. We now take a look at the stuff we're throwing away and think, can I use that for something? People even think about that when you throw away like your old cell phones and computers. Well, but you don't do that anymore, do you? You know what capitalism has done? The manufacturers of cell phones and other computers and so on are asking you to recycle them. Well, that's really good material in there. So we can make new computers out of that. And it saves them a lot of money. Saving them a lot of money. The bottom line, profit. That's capitalism. Okay, folks, we'll do it all again tomorrow. Same time, same radio stations. Thanks for hanging with me. Find out everything I talked about and more on my website, boldrepublic.com.